Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your chain for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, running like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. You're
listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right. Shout out to the Mighty Who That Nation, man. We in here representing the great Saint think tank. And like I've been saying for some time now, welcome, welcome, welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. What's popping? Shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all for being in this episode of Coffee with Q. Sunday morning coming at you guys. You know, we're going to talk about some of the moves the Saints are making, man. And on the offensive side of the ball, as they look to kind of improve upon the flaws and the failings of last year. So very interesting developments. I have several updates I want to go over in some of the news that have happened in this episode of the show. So please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. By all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. Shout out to the fam. Appreciate each and every last one of y'all for being in this thing. Much love to the fam. All right. So anyway, fam, what's really interesting about this whole development is that the Saints, man, when we talk about the Klint Kubiak hire they're planning to do, this is going full circle. What I mean by that, if you go back into your great Saint think tank historian mind, you remember that originally the Saints wanted to sign Gary Kubiak, the father of Klint Kubiak. And this was around the time when they were coming out of the Katrina thing, and they were looking for the next head coach. And it was between two guys. It was between Kubiak, the father, and Sean Payton at the time. The difference was Tom Benson, he was very adamant about it. He wanted Gary Kubiak because of his resume. Kubiak was a quarterback that won championships as a backup. He was with John Elway on those championship teams. He also was an offensive coordinator with championships on his resume with the Broncos years after that. And he wanted Kubiak. The problem was, so did Houston. Houston wanted Kubiak too. And Kubiak wanted to go to New Orleans. But what he did was he took the deal that Houston gave him and see if he can leverage that with the Saints, and Tom Benson refused to pay the money, and he went to Sean Payton. That's how we ended up with Payton. I know it ain't romanticized, but it was a pairing. You know, I'll often talk about this because I pull all the romanticism out of it. It shouldn't be in there anyway, but I pull all of it out of it and say, this is really how it happened. It's not like they seen Sean Payton like it was a match made in heaven. No, they wanted Gary Kubiak first. But anyway, you see what happened now. The Saints have ultimately kind of not abandoned. I don't want to say they abandoned the philosophies that happened of Sean Payton with his top acolyte and Pete Carmichael. It just didn't work. So now that that's over with, the team is deciding to go in a different direction, and they're going back to the Kubiaks. So in some way, it's always full circle, isn't it? It's pretty cool. So the Saints plan on hiring 49ers Klint Kubiak. Of course, the 49ers are in that bowl. They're in the bowl where the Saints want to be, but he's there. And soon as the Super Bowl is over with in another week or so, that they'll make the hiring official. And I actually think it's a pretty good plan to do that because Kubiak's system is a very successful brand of offensive football throughout the league. He has several different acolytes that's running his system throughout the NFL, and it could work for the Saints. Now, of course, it has the moniker of being a QB friendly system, similar to what Sean Payton's brand of offense was, but ultimately it didn't translate in success fast enough last year, offensively speaking. So we're going to talk about that today. We'll also talk about the Saints getting rid of or getting basically turning down or let's see what happened. Okay, basically the Saints getting rid of or ending their I guess relationship with Doug Marrone. That was one that came out, which should have been one of the first things that we ultimately talked about them doing. Them getting rid of Doug Marrone. You know, I thought that should have been something that should have happened really first because the offensive line was awful. It was terrible. And that's what ended up happening. So we'll talk about that today. All right. Shout out to Rock, man. Appreciate y'all being in the stream, man. Much love to you. Appreciate you, Rock, for becoming a new member of the channel. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Far too kind.
All right. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Yes, indeed. Yeah. What's up, Ronald? Good to see you. I mean, Brother Donald, excuse me. Big ups to you saying the Kubiaks. Yeah, they can coach. Oh, yeah. Good, very good signing by the Saints right there. I was looking at Brian Breesy. Not Breesy, Greasy. It being that, could you imagine we got a Brian Breesy and the Brian Greasy, but Greasy, I was looking at him in terms of that, but they ultimately zeroed in on Klint Kubiak, which wasn't a bad move. I actually can appreciate that. All right, big ups to the fan. Appreciate y'all. If y'all can hear me pretty well, hit one in the chat, man. I've been having some issues in terms of my studio's been having issues. So if y'all having any issues hearing me, just let me know and we'll keep this thing twisting and turning. So all right, big ups to the fam. All right, what's up, No Lagoon? Good to see you, brother Jamal. Shout out to you. Good to see you. All right. All right. Well, we only got one dude right now, bro. So they're doing the slow motion dance right now. Right now, as they could tell, they're doing the slow motion dance on some of this stuff, man. So the Saints ultimately took their time in hiring, and Mickey Loomis did say as much that they would take their time hiring, and they really did that. And I think they made a good hire here. Now, we'll go over this story as well. So let's kind of delve into this story right here. If I can get it to show up here, I'm having issues on my computer here. All right, y'all just bear with me just a second. All right. Sorry about that, family. All right. Saints plan to hire 49ers Clint Kubiak as offensive coordinator. New Orleans Saints planning to take, of course, he's in the Super Bowl, so they'll wait, but it seems to be a done deal. Saints are planning to make him, planning to make 49ers passing game specialist Clint Kubiak their new offensive coordinator. Schefter reported that this past week. The Niners play the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, so the Saints are looking for that offensive coordinator since moving on from Pete Carmichael early in the month. And Carmichael did a very predictable move. These people are so predictable. Carmichael ran up under Sean Payton like everybody and his mama knew he would. And if it was a bet, you bet that bet with the casino, you probably would have made a few dollars with that move because it's so predictable, man. These people can't. Some of these guys can't survive on their own. It's like so many jobs in the NFL. They're head coaching jobs. What Carmichael do? He runs up under Sean Payton. That's what he does. That's what some of these guys do. He ran right to him. Although the Saints finished 11th in the passing offense this season, they struggled to score in the red zone. At times under QB Derek Carr, they elected to replace Carmichael and several other offensive assistants after missing the playoffs for the third straight season. Kubiak is one of a number of coaches the Saints have looked at for their vacant coordinator position. They also showed interest in former Chicago Bear offensive coordinator Luke Getsy, Rams quarterbacks coach Zach Robinson, who ultimately took the deal in Atlanta, Baltimore wide receiver Greg Lewis, Houston Texans quarterbacks coach Jared Johnson, and former Seattle Seahawks offensive coordinator Shane Waldron, and Bengals quarterbacks coach Dan Pitcher, who was promoted to their coordinator role. Saints quarterback coach Ronald Curry was also a candidate. We realized that we looked at the stuff that could happen with Ronald Curry. We kind of figured that would probably be something that wouldn't happen for the Saints in terms of them having or picking up Ronald Curry. They didn't seem to want to go to him last year, even in a temporary, a temporary mindset. They didn't even use him last year when you could see that those guys wasn't responding to Pete Carmichael's direction. Switch it up, do something different. They didn't even do that. They elected not to do it. They elected to keep it all the same. That's why I just disrespect these people so much. I'm serious, because all of this was a time wasting exercise. Anybody knows that's running a business or running a company know when things don't work right, you have to be able to adjust and adjust and do something. Don't just sit up there and keep doing the same thing. And that's why I disrespect them so much so, because even though we have the memories to understand why you failed, because you did not adjust. You didn't change the play caller. You could have did it in season. It could have yielded different results. A new play caller there could have gotten you an extra win. It could have changed things a little bit. And they elected to do not do anything. And there was pressure for them to do it. So they couldn't say like, oh, we didn't know. There was pressure. There was commentary from the reporters that was saying, you such and such, such and such. There was lies being implemented and said that we're going to do this, that, and third. That's why I disrespect them so much. This was all a giant time wasting exercise. And now it's being painted like it was issues here, there, or the third. These guys are not doing what they're supposed to do when they are supposed to do them. And then when they fall out of the window, then they want to do something. They are late to the party all the time. You can't win like this. So you thinking I can change this, do this, switch this around, but do they change the mentality of operating in the moment, making the changes when you're supposed to make the damn changes? That's what I'm talking about. Ultimately, bringing this guy, giving Klint Kubiak and bringing the Kubiak offense into New Orleans, it is a positive. It's going to take some time because the Saints, offensively speaking, have had the same system for years. Perhaps it's gotten a bit stale, but that's all they know. That's how they run. And they have some similarities there, with the system. But outside of that, it's a new system that established guys like a Kamara and all these other guys are going to have to learn. And that's going to take some time. How much time? I don't know. But in the end, it took Derek Carr almost the entire NFL season before he even looked decently consistently at the back end of the season. It was totally ridiculous. But like I said, man, these are, to me, that's why I disrespect them so, because these people don't even know, like, for instance, we got a general mismanager that doesn't even have dialogue with the players, and he's supposed to be a guy that they can talk to about certain things. If they don't agree upon what the coach is doing, his door is supposed to open. He acts as a mediator between the two to make each other happy. So if there is a beef inside of the Saints locker room, to protect it from going outside of the locker room, the conversation should be to the players. If there's an issue, you can't schmooze it out with your head coach. My door's open. Come and talk to me. Jodeci, come talk to me. We'll get it together. We'll figure this thing out together. We'll make sure. I'm Dennis's boss. I'm you guys' boss, and we'll make it work. My door's open. Cat Terrell drop game when she asked him the question. You're not involved with, you don't have much to say to the players. Why are you giving, she didn't ask him why, but she asked him what was he saying in the speech at the end of the year. And why should I care if I'm a player? You don't talk to me. You don't talk to me during the season. Your goddamn door is closed. Why should I care about some piddling speech you giving at the end of the year? And that's why I'm talking about when we're dealing with these people. That's the problem. So I will not be fooled. And it's like I said, I won't be fooled by the moves that they make, because the underlying issue is their management style. It's a failing one. You have to act when the time is right to act. And if you're not, you're wasting time, man. So anyway, let's move on to the next one here. 5 things you should know about Klint Kubiak and the Saints' next offensive coordinator. Shout out to NOLA.com. For the Saints have decided to hire San Francisco 49ers passing game coordinator Klint Kubiak, the team's new offensive coordinator. According to Times, Kubiak and the 49ers will play in the Super Bowl, and meaning he won't be available to begin with the Saints until after February 11th game in Las Vegas. The 36-year-old Kubiak was on a list of candidates the Saints interviewed after the team fired longtime assistant Pete Carmichael in January. Here's a couple of things that the reporter did divulge on to tell you about, to give a little insight on who Klint Kubiak is and his pedigree. He's the son of former NFL quarterback and head coach Gary Kubiak. He brings a unique level of knowledge of the league for someone still in his 30s. Kubiak, the father, Gary Kubiak, 62, was successful head coach for both the Texans and the Broncos. In 2015, he led the Broncos to the Super Bowl title with Peyton Manning as the quarterback. He was the Texans head coach for 8 seasons, leading them to the playoffs twice. His career record was 82-75. Backup quarterback for the Broncos in 9 seasons, Gary Kubiak served as John Elway's understudy. He made only 5 starts in the NFL, completing just under 59%, just over 1,900 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 16 interceptions. The father and son worked together for 1 season, 2016 in Denver, for 2 years on the Minnesota Vikings staff. Klint has 2 older brothers in the NFL. Clay is an assistant quarterbacks coach for the 49ers, and Klein works for the Cowboys as a scout. So you have Klint, Klein, and Clay. Dude was stuck on K like a mug, right? You got Klint, Klein, and Clay. Good grief. All right, Klint Kubiak brings offensive coordinator experience after serving in the role of the quarterbacks coach for the Vikings. 2019-2020, Kubiak was elevated to the offensive coordinator in the 21 season following the retirement of his father from the Vikings staff. During Kubiak's season as an offensive coordinator for the Vikings, the team's offense ranked 12th in total offense, 11th in passing game offense, 4th in scoring. Kubiak left the Broncos after Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer was fired following an 8-year run in Minneapolis. Klint Kubiak found success with the Niners after working 1 year as a passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach with the Broncos. He was hired as a passing game coordinator by Kyle in San Francisco. Kubiak's 1 season with the 49ers has been a successful one, with QB Brock Purdy putting together a strong campaign. The 49ers led the NFL in yards per attempt, 9.3 in passer rating at 110.2. The team tied with the Dolphins for the most touchdowns scored this season at 61. Pretty good. Klint got an early start in the NFL at the age of 25. Kubiak got his first coaching opportunity in the NFL as an offensive quality coach for the Vikings in 2013 and 2014. An impressive leap for Kubiak, considering his only prior experience was an offensive quality coach at Texas A&M from 2020 to 2011, and 1 year stint as a graduate assistant for the Aggies in 2012. That's what will happen for you if your father is a head coach in the NFL and he was a backup head coach, a backup quarterback with John Elway. He has some pull and stroke where his son, normally for regular folks, would have to earn their comeuppance. Not so much if you're the son of Gary Kubiak. You can leap a few more spots more than other guys who don't have that pedigree. Such is the world, right? So anyway, Kubiak then worked for 1 year as a wide receivers coach at Kansas before making the climb back to the NFL as a member of his father's staff in 2016. That boy, I tell you what, he don't go too far from Pops. Klint Kubiak also played football at a high level, while he didn't make it to the NFL like his father, Kubiak was one of Colorado State's top defensive players at safety during his time from 2005 to 2009. So he does understand defenses. If he's an offensive-minded person, having that experience as a defensive player and then having the offensive experience definitely helps you out. Kubiak was named a team captain during the senior season and earned an invite to the East-West Shrine game. Over 5 seasons at Colorado State, Kubiak registered 187 tackles, 3 interceptions, and 34 games played. So he's a former DB that is now on the offensive side of the ball, which is actually pretty good for him as well. So anyway, let's keep it moving, man. That's a little bit about Klint Kubiak and 5 things. And shout out to Pat McGee over there at the NOLA.com. All right, so let's jump to the next topic. And this is shout out to Brother Bob and Saints News Network covered this one. Saints parting ways with offensive line coach Doug Marrone. This should have been something that's one of the first things the Saints should have done when they were cutting people loose. I really think Cody Burns shouldn't have been cut, but if anybody was listed as parting ways with, it should have been the offensive line coach. The offensive line was ghastly. It was horrible. It stunk. It was another one of the things that if you're a real head coach and you're paying attention to your team and you know what you're looking at, there should have been a change in the offensive line room of who, different techniques, somebody should have been promoted. Same thing in the offensive room, the at the play caller level, in terms of the offensive coordinator. You see it stinking. You've given it weeks, and in some cases it was months before you've seen things just not gelling, losing the teams you're not supposed to lose to, half-ass efforts, bad play. Shake it up, do something different, move around. These people don't do that well, but they finally get it right with moving Doug Marrone up out of here. Doug Marrone, line, they say, well, Q, the offensive line, such as that. Even when they were healthy, they didn't look right. Even when they were healthy, it didn't look right, man. It totally didn't look right. All right, so anyway, more changes coming with the Saints coaching staff. Amid reports that the team is parting ways with veteran assistant Nick Underhill of New Orleans. Football was the first to report on Saturday evening that Saints are parting ways with offensive line coach Doug Marrone, getting him up out of here. So, all right, so that's a positive for me. You know what I'm saying? So Doug Marrone, the news comes on the heels of Friday reports that the Saints will be hiring San Francisco 49er passing game coordinator Klint Kubiak as the new offensive coordinator for the next after the Super Bowl. Marrone, who's 59, just finished his second season in his second stint with the Saints. He was the offensive coordinator for Sean Payton's first staff in New Orleans back in 06, serving 3 years in that role. Over 3 seasons, the Saints twice ranked first in both total offensive yards and passing production, while finished with a top 5 scoring offense twice. In 09, Marrone left to become the head coach of Syracuse. After 4 years there, he'd become head coach of the Buffalo Bills at a position he held for 2 seasons. The Jaguars brought him in as an offensive line coach in 2014, but he promoted to interim head coach in the closeout of 2015 and took over as a full-time head coach following the year. Now, Marrone remained coach of the Jags for 6 seasons, taking Jacksonville to the 2018 AFC Championship game. Upon his dismissal in 2020, he was hired as an offensive line coach for the University of Alabama. The Crimson Tide finished 13-2 in 21, losing only to Georgia in the SEC Championship and the National Championship game. And of course, I'm not going to go through all of it, but in 2022, Marrone was brought back by Allen, who took over the coaching ranks, and he brought him in as the offensive line coach. And since his return, the Saints have managed fewer than 110 rushing yards per game and have ranked near the bottom of the NFL in rushing average. They're 3.6 per carry in 2023, ranked 31st in the NFL. Poor pass protection, bordering abysmal at times, also caused the offense to spin its wheels. But this was a constant thing throughout the entire NFL season. They never made any changes, which speaks to my point. These guys are not progressive-minded people. They're dinosaur-minded, fossilized-minded people, because if you didn't see it with your eyes, and you're blind, and many times they are, you could see it with the stats. If you can't see it with your eyes, you can see it with the stats. It's hard to get away from the data. The data was showing the fact that the Saints offense was bad. It was, in terms of them running the football, it was showing it was bad. You could put the tape on and see that the team was stinking, that they were awful, that they were garbage in terms of them attempting to run the ball. They were pretty bad. They were pathetic. So, I mean, in the end, this is a good move. It should have been one of the first moves they've done. But once again, like I said, we ain't really working with a true head coach, man. We're not really dealing with a true head coach right here. So, quarterback sacked 73 times over 34 games under Doug Marrone, and were often under constant duress. Injuries and the quarterback holding on to the ball too long were factors in this. However, the Saints were often completely helpless when dealing with inside twists, stunts, blitzes from opposing defenses. And another thing, your quarterback didn't do a good job of picking that stuff up either. Carr is supposed to see blitzes coming from different areas. He didn't see the blitzes, and they were not disguised blitzes. They were very visible blitzes that he would look at and see and not adjust to. He didn't. And like I said, he's a big part of what went wrong too, because if you see guys blitzing, you're supposed to set up protections. You're supposed to point out what they need to do. And oftentimes he didn't do that, in that pre-snap game of things. He didn't do that. But anyway, perhaps the biggest indictment against Marrone was the lack of development from their young offensive lineman. Rookie 4th-round pick Nick Saldiveri played 18 offensive snaps despite injuries and blocking issues up front. Starting right guard Cesar Ruiz from former first round pick regressed badly. He really did. After finally showing some promise the prior season, he did fall back into the hole. Now, whether he got paid and he just went down, I don't know. But there were plays where I was watching on the film when we were doing we was doing everything, man. We was doing the all 22 film on Cesar Ruiz, and I was just really just upset how Cesar Ruiz didn't consistently do it, and not only him but McCoy too. McCoy spent more ground and so much time on the ground. I thought he was a goddamn gardener. I thought he was doing landscape work. That's how much time McCoy spent on the green this past season. And it was situations where they will pull out to make blocks and they would miss the blocks. They wouldn't block anybody, or they don't know who to block. How is that even possible? But like I said, it was awful, and you could see it from the get-go. All right, so in the most erroneous disappointment has been from offensive. Yeah, and then you talk about Trevor Penning. 2022 first round choice. Penning missed most of the rookie year with a foot injury, but was inserted as a starter coming into this year, showing zero progress. Penning was benched after just 5 games. He played only 13 snaps over 11 contests, getting surpassed on the depth chart by journeyman and career backups upon taking over the offensive coordinator spot. Kubiak and the Saints will need to fill positions at the offensive line, a wide receiver coach, and running backs coach. Now, let's address that right quick. Trevor Penning was buried on the team so far down, man. Him and the devil shaking hands. That's how far down Trevor Penning was. They had guys off the street that was playing at the tackle position. You took Irvin, Cam Irvin, who was buried on the practice squad, and took him and elevated him over Trevor Penning at the right tackle position. The Saints didn't know what to do with Trevor Penning. And the reality is that Trevor Penning talked about early on, and we covered it, that he had some type of issues confidence-wise. That was reported, we played that interview, that he was dealing with confidence issues. Why? Because he was placed at a position he shouldn't have been put at. He was put at a position that he should have been placed at. He shouldn't have been placed at the left tackle position. I kept telling them people that he wasn't that type of guy, that he should have been at the left tackle position. He should have been at the right tackle position. Well, they had to keep Ram at right tackle. Why? Because Ramczyk knee was bad, and I guess they didn't want to fully expose him to being at the left tackle position. So you fully exposed the rookie with the future. And now that you said he was dealing with confidence issues and he was getting reps, all of a sudden he got no reps and he was buried on the active roster. You ain't even see him. So I mean, like I said, man, it was pathetic how they handled it. This guy should have been the first guy that was fired. You can look at the statistics, you can look at the film, you can look at whatever you need to look at, but it all started with the offensive line. And if you can't protect and if you can't run the ball, you will not win in the NFL. And the Saints weren't consistent enough in that. So they finally makes the moves. They do everything late. And that's the problem with these damn people. They do everything so late. All right, so let me give you an update on John Gruden's lawsuit family. John Gruden NFL lawsuits pushed back to July. We covered this a couple of shows ago when we talked about what is the relationship, what's going on with the Saints and John Gruden. Well, you got a bit of an update to give to you guys from local Las Vegas KVVU TV. Gruden NFL lawsuit pushed back to July. Oral arguments and contract interference and conspiracy lawsuits filed against the NFL by former Las Vegas Raiders coach John Gruden will not be heard until at least July. So what we seen early on was going on was just kind of early onset of that. Now most of that stuff's not going to take place until July. So Judge Joe Hardy Jr. made the ruling during a brief hearing in Clark County District Court on January the 30th. He scheduled a status check for the case for July the 30th. The league wants the court to reverse the state court's decision in 2022, letting Gruden's lawsuit proceed and not to order it out of court talks that could be overseen by Goodell, which I don't want that to happen. See, these are really, Roger Goodell is really a piece of work because and listen, the NFL has pull, okay? They have billions of dollars. They pay off a lot of these politicians. They have these sweetheart deals going on, and they've been doing this type of stuff for years. So they have a stronghold here. That's why they can't, and a lot of part of it in Congress and the congressional setup that they have a lot of pull there. That's why we don't see competing leagues here over here. They do the same. They create monopoly situations where they don't the dominant league. There should be another league, professional league, challenging the NFL. Might not be as big, but it should be another league out there. And these monopoly situations sets up where they have the relationships where if you get that guy over there sometime, we're gonna kind of pull back some of our support on this thing that you got going on over here. See, this gatekeeping shit. You know, that's what this is. But at the end of the day, he wants them to reverse the decision. The pressure's on the court to reverse the decision to allow this to be heard in arbitration. And arbitration is in secret. You won't know what's going on. They'll suppress the minutes of what's going on in arbitration. They won't let you know. And the guy that sits and controls the whole situation, the kangaroo court, is Roger Goodell. So if the plaintiff, if he has an issue and he's suing in court about a guy, hopefully our court system is not that criminal or that stupid and that corrupt to know they know what he's trying to do. Well, we don't want this heard, such and such. He don't want the dirty laundry to be aired. See, a lot of what's going to come out in this case will bury him because it'll show that he was manipulating and using this information to go at some individuals. And they did get rid of two guys that they didn't want. I know a lot of stuff. They got rid of Snyder, who was a jerk. They got rid of Gruden, but Gruden's fighting back. He didn't take his billions or whatever he sold the team from. Snyder did and then disappeared off to some island or wherever he's at. Gruden said, "Nah, man, you're not gonna do me like this. Whether right or wrong, I'm fighting back." And they don't like that. And he's also has the mentality he's going to push it. It ain't about money. He got paper. He said that it's not about the money. It's he wants to burn the house down. Really, he says burn the house down, but really he's looking at Roger Goodell because some of the co-conspirators, if you want to call them, that was with Roger Goodell were organizations that have some pull and money as well. They talked about Rock Nation. They talked about former players, union rep DeMaurice Smith, I think his name is, that he, according to reports, bragged about leaking the emails. And I'm like, okay, where is the legal remedy for that? So, like I said, Gruden's going after him, man. And I'm really hoping the courts do their job and keep it out of arbitration because I want to see everything that's going on. And it's about time that these people be exposed for what they're doing. This is the time of exposing these frauds and these people that's out here operating with this and being using their power and their position wrongfully. So if there was some wrongdoing, and obviously it is because they're fighting hard to get this in arbitration. Hopefully it stays in the court system. But in terms of New Orleans and them looking at John Gruden, the Saints looking at Klint Kubiak. So if we're starting to get a bit of clarity here. So if Gruden is, and I guess in a relationship with the Saints after all this clears, it'll probably be in a senior role or something like that. I can see that happen because they got Clint as the offensive coordinator. They'll fill in a lot of these positions that they have that are open, like the running backs coach. They need that. They need the wide receivers coach. They need offensive line coach now. So a lot of these positions are going to be filled after Clint gets that job. He'll have certain guys for certain things. But in terms of the senior role, that could be a position if this case goes in Gruden's advantage that they can ultimately probably end up bringing him in as some type of a senior assistant or something, like whatever the position that what's the guy, I forgot his name, had. All right, so anyway, to finish it out, the league wants the court to reverse the court decision or the judge decision back in May of 2022, letting Gruden's lawsuit proceed and not ordering it out of court talks that could be overseen by Roger Goodell. Gruden accuses the league of improperly leaking racist, sexist, and homophobic emails that Gruden sent when he was an ESPN announcer to force him to resign from the Raiders in 2021. Gruden's emails from 2011 to 2018 went to former Washington Commanders executive Bruce Allen and were found amid emails the league obtained during an investigation into workplace culture of the Washington team. Gruden alleges the disclosure of the emails destroyed his career and ruined endorsement contracts. He's seeking monetary damages. See, that's what he says. There's also interviews that says he's not looking for that money. He wants to burn the NFL down. Of course, he's suing them for some money as well, but his key thing is he wants to hurt them. Because what they did to him, they hurt him, so he wants to take them down. The thing is, he got something. He got something that they're really scared of. So that's going to be interesting to see how that all works going forward. All right. So anyway, let's keep it going, fam. All right, here it is. Derek Carr could stay with the Saints for 2 years on a restructured contract. This is Bleacher Report. This happened a couple of days ago, and it was broke by Luke Johnson of NOLA.com. Saints need to clear significant salary cap space, and based on conversations he had he had at the Senior Bowl, he expects them to take a big step toward getting under the cap, and by restructuring Carr and lowering his $35.7 million cap hit. Can't believe we paying him that much. Johnson noted that the restructuring Carr's contract would essentially tie him to the team for the next 2 seasons, whereas they would be able to cut him after the 2024 campaign with a little cap penalty if they were to leave his contract untouched. However, overthecap.com lists the Saints as being over $83 million over the salary cap, which is by far the most in the league. What's new? They've been doing this. Restructuring Carr would allow the Saints to make up a significant chunk of that deficit, as converting all but the minimum veteran amount of the salary into a signing bonus would save $21 million in 2024, according to Johnson. Now, the Raiders released Carr last offseason, after he spent time with the Las Vegas team, and he earned 4 Pro Bowl selection there, searching for answers at the quarterback position, allowing the retirement of Drew in 2020. The Saints took a chance on Carr by signing him to a 4-year, $150 million contract. Carr's first season in New Orleans yielded mixed results, as he went 9-8 and completed 68.4% of his passes, just under 3,900 yards and 25 touchdowns against 8 interceptions. Sounds good if you're a stats guy, but stats aren't everything. If you watch the games, you can understand it wasn't, the numbers in the play didn't look right. The Saints were widely viewed as a favorite to win the NFC South, and they didn't, but they fell short of their goal at 9-8. Tampa Bay Buccaneers won a division on a tiebreaker. Although it wasn't always pretty for Carr in offense in 2023, he had ended the campaign on a high note, throwing 12 touchdown passes against 1 interception over the final month worth of games. So all of the stuff that we were looking for Carr to do after a month of football, when usually a month, 2 months, you start seeing he struggled all the way until the last month of football. All the way, it was just ghastly. And it was, instead of lying as much as he did, maybe he would have done a better job and just saying that they don't know and going about the business, being accountable and doing what you're supposed to do. You know, I mean, it was really weird, but ultimately it took them all of the season up until the last month worth of games before you start seeing he picked it up. That was far too long. And maybe if they didn't coddle him as much as they did and force him to be, pay attention to going through his progressions like he's supposed to, as opposed to coddling him and trying to protect his feelings, maybe he would have had change or had better improvement earlier. But anyway, although it wasn't pretty for Carr, the offense in 2023, he ended the campaign on a high note, throwing those 12 touchdowns against that 1 interception. Carr has yet to win a playoff game in his career, and it remains unclear if he's capable of taking a team that distance, but there aren't likely to be any better options available to the Saints. And the thing is, not winning the playoff games, because your flaws are, if you look at some of the quarterbacks that do get there, they make some mistakes in some of these games, and sometimes guys try to be what they aren't. Like in the Raiders match, not the Raiders, the Ravens matchup against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. Lamar Jackson wasn't doing what Lamar Jackson does. He's trying to stand in the pocket and beat them from the pocket. No, you do what you're good at. Scramble around, make plays, you extend plays. They can't stop you. And guys get this stuff in their head about, what it is to be a quarterback, and he's thoroughly criticized. And now he'll be thoroughly even criticized even furthermore with getting that money and how he fell apart. But be who you are, and if you see issues in your game, be real enough to know that you got to change things. That's a problem that I usually have with some of these guys. The mindset, if you hear them, because we hear enough of them during the season, understand that this guy is not, he's going to show minimum, if any, improvement, because in order to show improvement, you got to be accountable to yourself and others. To yourself first and foremost. You got to tell yourself the truth and not lie to yourself. He lies to himself a lot. Like he would have been, if he was truly a professional quarterback that was a top 5 quarterback, which stops him from getting there, is non-accountability to himself, meaning he has to be able to understand and look at the tape and say, damn, I really don't go through my progressions, do I? I can see why Big Q and all these other people are upset. Michael Thomas is upset because I'm staring down the goddamn field half the time. I'm staring only to the left. I never look right. I can see, man, I've been screwing up like this. I got to stop this and change right now. That's the ingredient for me being a better quarterback, to see all of my options and not just half the field. Very simple, right? Not so much to some of these guys because they refuse to do it. And like I said, man, that's one of the things that stop them from getting to the next level, is being accountable, understanding what your flaws are in your game and changing them. And that's something that Derek Carr suffers with. And it don't help when you don't have somebody, well, the Saints didn't, they had guys like Pete Carmichael and the rest of these people not telling them, hey, bro, listen, bro, if you want to be great and take this team deep in the playoffs, God damn it, bro, you're going to have to look over the field. You're going to have to go in there and work on accuracy drills because your ball is up and down and all around, man. You got to do something about this. And they got to but see, those guys are not going to do that. They're going to kiss his ass. They're going to coddle him. And he knows that you can't thoroughly be too rough with him, but I don't care. Tell him the truth. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Listen, bro, you're not accurate as you're supposed to be. You can be a lot better quarterback if you was accurate. You got to know how to throw the ball. Sometimes it's required for you to place the ball center mass or lead the guy. If you need to learn how to do that, there's a guy that played before you for a bunch of years who did it really well. Maybe you should start studying some of his film and picking his brain up on what you need to do and how you need to work on ball placement and not hang your receivers out to dry. Because that's something you're not going to win friends doing that, hanging them out to dry when the safety's right there and you put the ball, he goes there, it gets hurt. You got to protect your wide receivers. And if you don't understand that, he's a fool. You're not going to win any people with you like that, hanging your people out to dry. Yeah, so anyway. All right, so they aren't picking high enough in the draft to select a franchise quarterback, and there aren't any obvious upgrades to speak on in free agency or via trade. Because of that, committing to the 32-year-old Carr for the next 2 years as an understandable move, especially given the financial flexibility it figures to give the Saints in 2024. I don't buy into that. There were options for the Saints. There were options. The options after Drew Brees retired, drafting a young quarterback and having him there when Drew was there. They elected to go away from that. Sean Payton had an opportunity at Lamar Jackson and chose Marcus Davenport, which is probably one of the stupidest draft moves I ever heard in recent history. Because even though Lamar Jackson right now he is doing what he does and he kind of fell short of his goals getting Baltimore to the Super Bowl, that's still more than anything that we've experienced over the last several years. We've not even gotten that close. Could you imagine? They moved up to go and get Davenport. The guy is a complete unadulterated bust. And that was a report somebody sent me about Sean Payton talking about drafting a quarterback. I said, what is this? What kind of foolishness is this? Sean Payton never drafted a quarterback a high drafting quarterback and developed them into anything. That is the thing that Sean Payton doesn't do. That's why he only looks for teams looks to find middle of the road quarterbacks that can pick up his system. He's not good at that. And if he tried to do that, that'll be an interesting thing to see if he can take a top, because he drafted quarterbacks before and most of them failed. Matter of fact, all of them failed. I don't know not one quarterback. I mean, the Sean Canfields, you pick them, just draft these guys and he can't develop them. He can do a lot of things offensively, but he cannot draft quarterbacks and develop them or draft them high and develop them into consistent starters, productive starters in the NFL. Sean Payton never did that. Maybe he does it with the Broncos. I've never seen him do it. That's why, like I said, he always get middle of the road quarterbacks. When he was making his decision on which teams to go to, he was only picking teams that had the ability to, that had a quarterback that was middle of the road quarterback that he would try to pick up his system. Now, of course, it didn't work with Russell. What's his name? Because Russ got problems, man. He got big time problems. All right, so anyway, man, let me do a brief recap of the family members that just popped in. We covered and talked about the Saints plan to hire Klint Kubiak. We talked about that, 5 things about said Kubiak. We also talked about the Saints parting ways with offensive line coach Doug Marrone finally. And then also we gave an update on John Gruden's lawsuit with the NFL that is being pushed back to July of this season. So very interesting. And also the Saints need to hire in the position open. We got the offensive coordinator stuff locked in. Running back, wide receiver, and offensive line coaches will be needed. And we still have Clancy Barone at tight end and Ronald Curry at the QB's coach. Now, of course, there's still hiring going on throughout the NFL with different teams picking up. Everybody now has a head coach, and they'll be filling out their staffs. So you never know. Some of the guys we might have on our staff currently might not be on here. It's a lot of hiring still going on. All right. And also, we covered the Derek Carr possible restructuring that'll tie him to the Saints for the next 2 seasons. But anyway, all right. And then let's move into this thing here, fam. Then we'll do a little Q&A. This is picked up, and somebody sent me this. Shout out to the family members on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, that sent me this. Cool Breeze. Shout out to you, Cool Breeze. Cool Breeze sent me and several other people, but shout out to Cool Breeze and others that sent me this clip about Derek Carr. He was on a podcast called 2Gs in the Pod with Jones, who's a former wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers. He's pretty good, pretty cool dude, and his co-host there. And they talked about Derek Carr. Derek Carr talked about Michael Thomas. He talked about a lot of stuff. In this video, he talked. I would play the whole thing, but it's like 50 minutes long, and I don't want to sit here and listen to him that long. But he did talk about in the podcast about him being hurt. He listed all of the injuries that he had and all this kind of stuff, and talked about the him having to struggle through the season and do this. I had I had this. I had 2-3 broken ribs and da, 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 da. And by the way, the Saints never reported none of that, right? Until the end of the season, close to the end of the season. They took all that, the broken ribs, all that. They lied about all that. They didn't cover none of that stuff. And then when you got back toward the end of the season, that's when they started throwing it out. Well, he had some broken ribs playing with such and such. We could see something was wrong with the guy. Saints lied about it the entire time. Hopefully they get fined by him too for doing that, because they're notorious for that. But anyway, he talked about that early on, and then he made mention about Michael Thomas's tweets that are, that he made mention on social media. So I'm gonna play this for you guys. You guys put one in the chat if you can hear this. Here we go.
About it too.
I see you going back and forth with another receiver or something that played in the league. Like, you're talking to just a regular fan. Like, come on, bro.
And look how the greatest do it.
I'll never understand it.
Look how the greatest do it. And I'm going to say this. Devontae Adams got his head knocked off. There were several times, no matter who was throwing to him this year, where I thought this man is going to be injured. They are putting him in a bad. Never did you hear Devontae get up and blame the rookie or blame Jimmy or anything like that. I'm sure he had a discussion with him. You guys know him better than me. Maybe like, hey, you got to put this in a better place. But I think that was an example of the right way to do it. So wanted to bring that up. But James, we got the Super Bowl coming up. I know James has been out front talking about Brock Purdy. James will not give Brock Purdy any respect.
And the last couple of days, I have given him some respect, especially what he did. I grew up to where, number one, it's always my fault. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'll never forget, like, Aaron had threw me a ball, an in route. I got my helmet knocked off. Boom. Right? I scored a touchdown. I tell him, good ball. my family was like, what you mean, good ball? He almost killed you. But, like, I'll tell him that in the locker room if I felt like that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't caught the ball, got my ribs broke. Matt Flynn, I ain't coming there, man. Matt Flynn set me up, this and that. Like, come on. You do not do your teammates like that. I absolutely hate it. I don't know why they go to social media. You have my number. If you have an issue with me, man, just text me. I do not understand that. Like, a quarterback is not going to make every throw. They blitzing me. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. Like, it's a lot of stuff happening. And same with a receiver. We're not going to make every catch. So at the end of the day, I just hate it because I don't like when other teammates, put their teammates on blast like that. Now, it's different if you talking to the media or whatever, and you like, listen, I got to play well. DC got to play better. Well, that's different. You know what I'm saying? But calling one of your teammates out, man, I absolutely hate it, man. I don't know why dudes do it nowadays. And then you going on Twitter, and these dudes is, come on, man. Like, who are you going back and forth with?
With a fan. You're talking to a fan about it, too.
I see you going back and forth with another receiver or something that played in the league. Like, you're talking to just a regular fan. Like, come on, bro.
And look how the greatest do it.
I'll never understand it.
Look how the greatest.
All right. So what we hearing is placation. This is what most of the people do when they get guys on the show. You can see a little ass kissing going on right here. There's a lot of ass kissing going on right here. We might have to get these people some shea butter or something. Then I got all the moisture off their list. Good goodness. But the reality is, a lot of them saying they're shining down on the fact it's a culture thing. And they say, what's the culture? The culture is, if you have an issue with me, call me. We've heard him often. I've made jokes about this. I'm gonna have to get this keyed up a certain way so we can hear him. Well, there are jokes that are said that I make about Derek Carr and the fact that he, y'all know, Gundam know how I do these things. What I say, I call Mike Thomas. I showed him a picture. But that's what I do. I emulated him, and we make jokes about him because they do communicate, texting or calling. He said that he alluded to that they do talk. Now Thomas is on here, on there tweeting away to the people, and he not answering everything because he kind of doing it, answering in a cryptic way about some of this stuff. Some stuff he letting go, but it's obvious to me that if you look at what's happening with the Saints organization, that it's not just Derek Carr. Derek Carr is a symbol of Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen drafted this guy, and then he brought him in here to be the man, but he hadn't earned anything. I mean, because you're the leader, because you're getting $150 million, but you're not doing anything. He's not accountable. And when he's not allowed to be criticized, I've criticized his ass all the time. I really do. And James Jones, bro, you don't sit up here and get on here and talk about the family members that he's communicating to, because that's what they're supposed to do. I am thoroughly against them being aligned between the players and the people that support the players so they can have the lifestyle that they have. I do think that's a pretty cool thing when professional athletes do engage on Twitter or in real life with people that support them. They owe them that much. They owe them that. So that's not a down thing. So you're wrong for that, brother. Oh, well, you up there talking to fans. Come on, man. Bro, listen. At some point aspect, not everybody's played in NFL, but there are guys that played in high school like myself that understand the game. I didn't go to college. I had a chance to. I didn't. I chose something differently. Many people understand the game. I've talked to ladies out there that understand the game than some guys do. They never played high school football, whatever the case may have been, but they understand the game. You get what I'm getting at, bro? So, I mean, it's from a concept standpoint, they get it. And it's not a difficult thing to get. It's a freaking children's game. It's a kid's game. It's nothing deep about it. What they do is they convolute it because they're doing the same stuff. They're just renaming it. Like if you come from a different team and you're doing, you run into the left between two tackles, it might be called banana 2-1-3 or whatever. And then in this scene, we don't call it banana. We call it pineapple 8-1. You see what I'm saying? It's basically that. They're doing the same things, but terming them different. They're using different terminology to do the same things. That's what you got going on in there because it's a copycat system. But in the end, Derek Carr is not allowed to be accountable. That's where we step in. We have to make you accountable. And as long as people are doing this kind of stuff where they holding them from being accountable, I don't appreciate that because that won't get us where we need to be. We don't need less accountability. We need more accountability. That's why I'm hard going in on Mickey Loomis and what he doing with the Saints. I go in on Dennis Allen. I go in on these damn people here because they're not holding any type of sense of real accountability. None whatsoever, especially when shit is hitting the fan and you could do something about it. They smash it and don't do nothing about it. And then when it's over with, they won't talk about it then like, oh, we failed, but we're going to change this and we're going to do this better. And I'm going to make it uncomfortable on these guys. No, you don't need to make it uncomfortable on nobody but your damn self because you ain't doing nothing. That's what I'm talking about. Make moves when you have the opportunity to make moves and not after it's over with. That's what I'm talking about. But let me play the rest.
It's meant a lot to me. It's something I'll never forget. It really made me feel like, okay, keep doing what you're doing. Keep working hard. Keep learning the game. So we never get a chance to say these behind the scenes stories. We just hear the press about people. So I did want to put that out.
No, that's good because kind of the same thing happened to me. I never even played against Gruden, never played for Gruden. And when the first interaction I ever had with Gruden, he walked up to me. He was like, hey, man, I ain't never seen nobody with hands like you. And I'm like, like,
how do you know me?
You've been watching me. I know you done called a couple games and all that type of stuff, but like you've been watching me, you know what I mean? And just for him to walk up to me and just, respect, like, bro, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're a tough receiver, man. I ain't never seen nobody catch like you. I'm like, okay, like this dude get respect. So I know Gruden is a good dude, man.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He said things he shouldn't have said, and everyone's in agreement. Like, don't talk like that,
Yeah.
but we've all also said things that, man, if it got blown out, you'd be like, man, I don't like him,
Yeah.
or I don't like her, and we've all, but to the, to some of the things he was saying, obviously there's no place for that. And like I said, you hate
No.
the sin, but you love the man, and he's someone I love, and I'll always love him.
Yeah, and
Sets the tempo for John Gruden to get here. But see, John Gruden has to, before he even steps foot in the Saints building, he has to offer apologies toward what was being said, right? And a lot of people support John Gruden. Me personally, people make mistakes, but like I said, this world here, man, you're gonna hear a lot of that stuff comes out. And what he was saying, it's weird to be talking like that, because I read some of those emails with him was saying and all this kind of stuff. Man, it's just, it wasn't in passing you made a mistake, or you know what I'm saying? It's kind of sketchy. But in the end, the John Gruden, whether you love it or not, they're gonna make it happen, because this dude here wants him here. He wants him here. And the Saints and Mickey Loomis, like I said, they're gonna do whatever they can to make sure this guy's happy, because their futures, they've hitched their wagons to Derek Carr's train. And at the end of the day, that's what it's going to come down. So they kind of get it. You heard James Jones said, and he played for Gruden when he was with the Raiders. So I think it was, but I know that's what he's speaking about, John Gruden, but he was a Raider guy too after he left the Packers. So he's speaking about John Gruden. People have different experiences with the guy, but me personally, if you're going to be in New Orleans building, they're going to have to definitely issue some apologies or whatnot. But this thing is definitely going to happen because Carr wants it to. Y'all put one in the chat if y'all can hit it.
and it's conflicting because he said some things about women, but you also want to put a story out in its totality of experience. So I got to ask you, Derek,
that was kind of quick and passing. He did say such. I mean, are we gonna get any real serious critique of this, or are we gonna just kind of keep it at the top of the line? I guess we're gonna keep it at the top of the line. We're not going to dig into it and get into serious critique. We're just going to keep it as milquetoast as possible.
I got to ask you this: 2 G's in a pod. We have our friends on. We love to give you an opportunity to speak in a safe space about things that are happening. And I hate that word, safe space. It's very Gen Z. But I got to ask you about Michael Thomas, because this happened just a few days ago. He threw you under the bus on X. He was talking with a fan. He's going back and forth with fans about lack of production in the year he had, and he tweeted, and I'm going to quote it: "Well, if I didn't get set up by a bad ball, I probably would have had a little light 1,000 yards this year, but could have, should have. I know, I get it. Laugh out loud." And so essentially, he's blaming you for the season-ending injury, and he did it publicly. So not only do I want your reaction, I'm also curious: did he ever call you and tell you, like, "Hey, bro, you set me up. You screwed me. The rest of the season was shot because of you"?
No, I will answer that, and I will start with saying this: I love Mike T. I really do. I love him. I think when I came in, I don't know how many years it's been, where he's gotten hurt and didn't finish the year, but there was a lot of frustration there. There's a lot of frustration that he had to deal with, and answering questions and all the kind of, and I could see how that could wear on you, right? So that when it happens again, goodness, that, it's probably hard on the head, on the head and on the heart, you're like, gosh, dang it, and, it probably, I don't even know exactly when it happened, but it probably wasn't the best ball. And I'm being completely honest, James knows. James played with me. I'm not going to throw a perfect ball 100 out of 100 times, but, at the end of the day,
catch a ball.
He's not going to catch him,
I mean, stop cooning, James, bro. But listen, man, this is the thing, man. The reality is, the truth is, Michael Thomas shouldn't have been. It was a different way to handle the Twitter thing. But like I've said, and I've constantly said, you don't have no real leadership, and at the top of the Saints organization, you don't even have a real general manager. You got a dude that masquerade as a general manager. He more VP than anything. His door is closed. Who, if there's a and see, this is something that happens, and they'll never admit to it. That's why I can't respect them like that, because this type of stuff will go on. If you have, and I go back to the Jameis Winston situation that happened a couple of years ago when he fell out with Dennis Allen, where the F was Mickey Loomis to smooth that out? Where was he at before Jameis took it to the press? If he had his thumb or his mindset on the team and the team's success and knowing everything that's going on with the team, he would have been able to stop that before it got outside the building. See, none of this is new. All this has been going on. All this has been going on. But they have to have somewhere to express themselves. See, they pretend like they're robots. Well, that's something that you just don't do. Hell, the reporters do it, man. The reporters be going, they got other reporters there. Everybody does that. They're trying to make it look like, oh, nobody else does that. The damn rappers do it. Every damn athletes do it. Everybody do it. Come on, man. Let's keep it a $1.15 over here, man. Oh, that's not something you're supposed to do. They all do it. What you talking about? And the reality is, if you don't want it to happen, because they are human beings, how about having something set up where they have a place to go to air out their differences? You can't go to Loomis because his damn door closed. But he gonna talk about it after the fact. How about preventing that? How about saying, if you have a problem with this guy, the head coach, I'm his boss, I will make it work. But he has his door closed. You know why? Because he's not a real general manager. What he'll do is he'll say, well, you got to listen to Dennis. Well, look, Mike, I understand. I get it. I hear you're pissed off. I understand. Like, sometimes I get pissed off. I go down there and to the buffet and my clam chowder's gone. I don't know what to do. My goddamn clam chowder's all gone. I don't know what I'm going to do here. So what the hell I do is I just start, I have to figure out what I'm going to eat, and the clam chowder's all I empty and they drunk up all my orange juice. I get pissed off, I understand, but listen, I don't go blab to Twitter. You don't have a Twitter, Mickey. You don't have a goddamn Twitter. Okay. This is new. This is, you have to have something set up where this doesn't happen. And this happens to every team. This happens all over the NFL all the time. Guys get at each other on social media. Guys don't, and the thing about it, Derek Carr, you did. I don't even remember it. No, you listen, bro. Yes, you did it. There is tons of video with you throwing that ball with him getting hurt. He ain't making the shit. He ain't pulling it out his backside. I mean, it's the damn truth. There is such a things, and the Aaron Jones to the pit saying, well, Aaron threw the ball, got your ribs broke. That was my fault. What? Who thinks like that? Who talks like that? No, there is going to be some accountability here. I'm going to do my job, and God damn it, you're going to do yours too. If I'm held to an accountability standard, you're going to be held to one too. As a quarterback, your accountability should be higher than anybody because you're the leader of the team. Stop me if I'm not telling the truth here. You did do it. And I'm saying Mike could have chose the best way to do it as opposed to get on Twitter. But the reality is, where was he going to go? Mickey Loomis is not listening. Dennis Allen's not listening. Them guys they got shit stuffed in their ears. They don't hear nothing. And if you criticize them, they get upset. Like Mickey Loomis fell apart. He literally fell the F apart this past season. You seen him get on that press conference. His face was flush. Eyes was glossy, chewing on gum. I am just chewing this gum so I don't cough. Mickey, chewing gum don't stop you from coughing, brother. It don't stop you from coughing. You still gonna cough. What are you talking about? But in the end, what I'm saying is this is all foolish. There has to be some place where the player can go to air out his grievances if he has an issue with his coach. Where does he go? Obviously, to not Mickey Loomis. But anyway, let him.
I probably didn't throw the best ball, but if that's how he wants to view it and how he wants to see it, completely fine by me. And I understand also that when I came in the building, we have Chris Olave, who they were trying to train to be the number one guy. So all of a sudden, every rep and every read in practice is Chris first, and as a superstar that Mike is and what he has been, I can understand you're dealing with all the injury noise. You're dealing with now Chris has become a guy, and he loves Chris. That's his guy, Ohio State, all that. But I can understand where the frustration begins to build. I can understand where all those things begin to take place. But there was times during the season where he'd be frustrated or this or that, and I wouldn't, tweet about it. I would just call him, and I'd just be like, look, bro, like this is what it is, bro. We're grown men. We can talk about anything. And every time that, I went on there and, talked to him, there was time.
Hey, it's what it is. I'm going to throw them goddamn bad balls, bro. Listen, I'm the man. You're not. I'm going to throw them goddamn bad balls. I'm going to throw them low. I'm going to throw them high. I'm going to throw them in front of you. You might have to leap out. You might get hit from the side, and then the other side, you might get a crunch sandwich. But hey, listen, bro, this is just how it is. This is how it's going to be. You know, I ain't the best. I ain't the most accurate guy in the world, but at the end of the day, I'm the quarterback. I'm the $150 million man, they're going to protect me and not you. You're going to be the bad guy if you come up against me. It's just what it is, But Carr, you got to improve, bro.
There's times where I went at him and confronted him about something and said something. And he probably, over time, with all the frustration, grew to not liking that, But I've always just tried to tell the truth in love. And sometimes, people don't like it, But, I hope Mike finds what he's looking for. I hope he gets everything he wants in life, because I do love Mike. But at that moment, I didn't really like it. I was like, you just call me, bro. Like,
just call me, bro, and tell me that I'm not accurate. Just call me and tell me that that I'm not accountable. Just call me and tell me that, and I'll disagree with you on the phone, but you can call me and tell me that that my ball placement is not very good, that I'm not very accountable, that I understand that I hang out wide receivers all the time. I put them in positions where they'll take a nasty hit from a defender. I do that. I did that to Alvin Kamara several times this past year. Hell, I did it to Chris Olave. He got his top knocked off a couple of times. Hell, I did it to Rashid Shaheed. That's what I do. I'm Derek flipping Carr, inaccurate as hell, but at the end of the day, I'll impale your ass with the ball. That's what I'll do. But it's just more of the same, man. Yeah, so Michael Thomas, I hope he finds what he's looking for, which means, guess what? Hasta la vista, the freaking Mike Thomas. I hope he finds what he's looking for. Yeah. You know what that means? Good luck, good grief, good riddance to you, Michael Thomas. I hope he finds what he's looking for. That means he's up out of here. Get gone. So anyway, it happens in the NFL, man. Whether it's Carr or anybody else, these guys are not as accurate as you would like them to be. They throw balls and sometimes get their guys hit. As you know, wide receivers, if you're a wide receiver or a running back or a tight end, and there's a ball placed and you got a guy coming to get you, that safety's there, that linebacker's in the position in front of you, especially as much as the Saints check the ball down. Most of the time, the defense is playing off and giving you that space underneath and ready for you when you do take that shot. When you catch that ball, they're coming to you to make the hit on you. That's what they do. So we've seen that happen all season long. And when you talk about, when Michael Thomas was talking about him getting hurt, he's talking about that he didn't like the ball placement. And it was other things that the recent brand of tweets that he was talking about with him in ball placement. But it does happen in NFL where quarterbacks do hang out their wide receivers or tight ends or running backs, and they get hit and then ultimately get hurt on play. So it is all good, man. It's what it is. All right. So anyway, fam, I'm going to bounce it to the chat, man. That's all of the news I got for you guys. If you got any questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat. Much love to the fam. Appreciate all the family members. Pammy Whammy, appreciate you for being a member. Bronze Flat Power Guy, appreciate you guys. And shout out to Rock becoming a new member of the channel. Shout out to you guys. This was for you.
I want to say thank you very much. Picking me up and bringing me back to this world.
All right. So anyway, shout out to the fam, man. Let me go through some of if you guys got any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat right now and I'll go over them. Brother Liddell, what's up, bro? Says Big Q, Queen Lex, TJ, and number 3, he says number 3, number 1, Saints, Pelican. Okay, well versed. Okay, thank you. Appreciate you, brother Liddell. Yeah, man, the Pelican post-game report, man. And I mean, a lot of people remember that, all that was one thing. Tough Tiger Talk, Ring Kings Boxing, the Sports Coma, and Pelican post-game report was all under the same area. I just niched them down because you had some people that were Saints diehards and they didn't like the Pelicans, or they was this, that, and the third. So to make it easier for people, I just niched it down where you get all your Pelican people here, your Saints. It was just a smart business decision that was being here that I had to get stuff done. So, I mean, in the end, I have to be able to figure, I had to be able to kind of get that down. So, but anyway, shout out to the fam, man. Appreciate that, Liddell. RC says, since when is 30-year-old for wide receiver, running back? Yes, wide receivers. I don't get what you're saying there, brother. I guess you comment on somebody. H-Town Creole, what's up? Says a real quarterback would have took the criticism and owned it. Whether true or not, it's called leadership. Indeed. We don't see that often. And that's one of the things. Like, I mean, we've literally caught this guy in lies. All I do is tell the truth and love. No, you don't, bro. You be lying your ass off, bro. And I'm not, and I'm talking about a guy that covers all of this stuff, that plays all of the interviews. When Derek Carr was standing up there lying about answers, having the answers to the offensive woes, and the press standing up there looking at him, asking him questions. Well, we got the answer. Where the answer that they're in the building, and then the next game they come out and they lose again. So I mean, he no, bro, you be lying your ass off, man, and you're not accountable, dude. And that's why you see all this stuff happening with wide receivers. It keeps happening. And whether Mike Thomas is on the team or not, you're going to continue to have problems with whoever you playing with because you're not accountable. And the Saints are not forced, and they're not even trying to make him accountable. You had times when Dennis Allen, who's supposed to be the head coach of the team, and I use that very loosely, head coach, right? He was a guy that when Carr had a good game, he came out and threw Carr's name. How about Carr? How about such and such? But when Carr threw that pick six against Atlanta, that ultimately decided the Saints lost in that game, we lose as a team. You see this kind of bull? That's why I don't like Dennis Allen. I don't like hypocritical ass head coaches at positions of power, because that creates flaws and just dysfunction throughout your team. You can't have a head coach that does that. You can't. Hey, he's so stupid he doesn't realize he's playing favorites in front of people. That creates a division in the team. Because when Derek Carr deserves to be criticized, he doesn't do it. He says we lose as a team, but when Carr has a good game, how about Derek Carr? How about that? How about, no, you can't do that, idiot. You can't do that. And that's why I said he's not a true head coach. He's not a leader. You can't do that kind of stuff, man. You can't do that as a parent. You damn sure can't do that. And you're supposed to be the leader of people. You can't show that type of that kind of that type of I guess, for the lack of the better words, you can't show that kind of favoritism. There you go. And one player versus another player, you can't do that, fool. And then of course there's Mickey Loomis, who's an idiot in his own right. Mickey Loomis sits up there and he pretends to be a general manager. He's really the general mismanager of the team. He's not really a general manager. He doesn't have the pulse of the team. He doesn't do evaluations during the season because, in his own words, he's too emotional to do them. Whether the Saints win, he's emotional. Whether they lose, he's emotional. So it sounds like a cop-out. So we got a cop out there who don't want to do the job. And whatever VP job he is, I say do it. Let somebody else do the general manager, because you're not a good general manager. You've been masquerading for 20-something odd years. It really been Sean Payton telling them what to do. And it was evident if you look over the last 2 years of how he's supposedly supposed to be a manager, it looks totally bad, because you can't use the same just take my hands off it and give it the Sean Payton approach that you could with Dennis Allen. You know why? Because they're totally two different people with two different skill sets. And as a general manager, you're supposed to be able to see the difference between Dennis Allen and Sean Payton, for goodness sake. Everybody with brain cells can see the difference. You're supposed to govern them differently. You're supposed to manage them differently. He's a guy prior to this year was a losing head coach. So obviously he's missing parts of his game, which contributed to him being aloof, a loser. It's things that he's doing that he's not really good at. You got to keep your thumb on him. You got to keep watching him. You can't let him destroy the team and then make excuses for him while he's destroying the team. You are an idiot for that. But no, you guys are lazy and unsophisticated when you report on stuff that's happening in the building. No, you're not qualified to talk about my coaches. No, you're not qualified. Oh, hell no. You guys, I'll tell you something. You guys aren't qualified. You sit up on your ass there. And I've been a manager for 37 years. I know what I'm doing. No, you don't know what you're doing, bro. You've been protected for 20-something odd years, man. You really have. And like I said, just look at you got enough space and time over the last 2 years to understand what this is really hitting for. It's not hard to tell. And then when the pressure fell, he couldn't defer that to Dennis Allen. He had to take the pressure onto himself. And you see how he looked at the end of that end of the season press conference. He looked like crap. He talked like crap. He was out of his mind, making dumb comparisons between Dennis Allen and Walsh. Dumb comparisons between him and Peyton, between him and Bill Belichick. Oh, you kidding? Dennis Allen can't tie Bill Belichick's shoes. He can't wash his car. He can't do nothing. He should not even be in the same world of thought when it comes down to what Bill Belichick, who's the best coach in the history of the NFL, whoever did it. He can't sit in the same city with Bill Belichick. That should not even been a real thing. But this is a guy falling apart with the pressures on him. Let's keep that pressure on him. All right, anyway, shout out to you. I see you, Scoob. Shout out to my boy, Scoob. Much love to y'all as well. Good to see y'all in the chat, man. OG Jerry, what's up, brother? Boss Hog said the league is not about loyalty, it's about performance. He's not a number one anymore. That's true. He's not. And the thing is, he's noticed, pay attention. Y'all put one in the chat if y'all picked up on what Carr said about why would Carr feel the need to mention Chris Olave? You know, we got Chris Olave here and because maybe perhaps he's trying to see it's a little jealousy there, perhaps. Is that what Carr was hitting at? Yeah. Is that what he was hitting at? But in the end, man, what goes on, fam, is that we all know this happens in everywhere, not just in the NFL, but in most professional environments. Hell, it happens in people's families. When people, you know, it happens. It happens all the time. But the best way to stop it is to create an atmosphere, and people call it culture. Well, it's an atmosphere. It's a overall mindset. Like, people struggle with what culture is. No, it's no fault. It's no confusion what culture is. Culture is basically the environment, the overall dominant thought of the environment that you currently are living in. Is it a successful one? Is it one that's bred throughout the company that you work for? This is a successful company with high morals and standards. We don't play that BS. You're going to get fired if you do this, that, the third. That creates the mindset overall. That's what that is. When you talk about people confused about culture, that's what it is. And y'all guys seen the interview of Drew Brees talking about what his thoughts was on how critical the family members been about what's happening with this team. And he said it's a good thing. And I said the same damn thing. What are these people talking about, man? What are they talking about? This is a winning organization. We finally got it there after all of the funk and the stink, and they're trying to bring it back down. They're trying to lower the floor. We're not going to let you lower the floor. We're not going to do that. This is an organization that's supposed to be playing for playoffs. It's a team that's one of the oldest teams in the NFL. They're supposed to be in the playoffs the last 3 years, especially the last 2 years. This is not a rebuilding team. People got to remember when they come into, I remember all the shit they say when they come into it, but then when they don't win and they don't handle their business, then they won't turn around and change it to suit or to make excuses for why they failing. That can't happen. We won't let you do that. We won't sit up here and let you change it when you originally came into it, because they don't want to be held accountable by the standard that they themselves supposed to keep up. But we won't lower the floor. You know, we know what a real quarterback looks like. And when you took $150 million, this is not what a real quarterback look like. A guy that's totally, that's not countable, that throws the ball here or there, passes upside down. Some bitch don't even look at half the field half the time. You know, you looking left, and I mean, it's just crazy. There is no excuse for that, man. All right, thank you, bro. But yeah, Michael Thomas, man, we know Michael Thomas we understood that. And Mike advocated for Derek Carr to come here. He never asked that damn question, by the way, because I wanted to hear what he said. Like, you advocated for him to come here. Now, all of a sudden, you feel this kind of way? Expound. What changed? You advocated for this car to be parked in New Orleans. You was advocating for him. You were advocating for him, right? But see, when you show them what they did, they don't like that. They don't like that. You advocate. I didn't get any answer for that. You was answering all that other shit, but you ain't answer that. You didn't answer that. All right. T Greatness says, who that nation? All right. We love our team, Humber, but he's the first I've ever seen booed in a long time. Yeah, because and thank you for that, T Greatness. Listen, bro, you're right. The man got booed. Why? Because he's not performing up to standard. He's not performing up to the code. Mickey Lomas, Dennis Allen said they don't like the fact that he's getting booed. Why? Because they don't hold the dude accountable. If they would make sure he do the stuff that he's supposed to do in practice, like overlook the entire field. I keep saying the same thing. The dude don't look over the field. And when you have good games, it's because he is actually looking over the field. That's laziness. That's not dumb. He's not a stupid guy. That's laziness why you get up there and you take a rep and you just stare down one side and don't go to the other, and they got people running down the field wide open. That was one of Thomas's critiques, his criticisms about him. You're throwing over here, trying to force the ball over here, checking it down to the left, and there's a guy running wide open to the right, or he has a single covered cornerback on him with no safety support. Throw that ball up there to that dude on the opposite side. Never happened because he never looked in that direction. That's something that he does that's going to keep him from losing. And until he fixes that part of his game, and hopefully whoever coming in here could get that together, because them last group of clowns that we had talking to him, they wouldn't even approach that topic. It was terrible. Robert says, what's up, Robert? Says, Q, what do you think about losing Taysom Hill? Well, we got, what, one more year, Taysom, of being here? I mean, bro, at some point, we gotta do something else, man. We got to, like, for me, Taysom's a running back. Like, he's just a running back, and we use him at wide receiver sometimes. He's not a tight end. You know, he gets majority of his yardage as a runner. He does catch the ball out the backfield extremely well. I love Taysom Hill's aggressiveness. I love the fact that when he's on, you can't stop him. That's the thing. The quarterback thing has sailed. I don't see him as a quarterback because he's not accurate at all. You can see he don't even work on that aspect as opposed to him running and catching of the ball. But eventually, he makes a lot of money, man, and he's getting older. Eventually, we're gonna have to move past Taysom. And I know Sean Payton ultimately, I wouldn't be surprised if Sean Payton calls Dennis Allen again and say, you won't give up Taysom? I know I see your little cash strapped over there. You won't give up Taysom? You know? So, I mean, in the end, man, listen, I wouldn't. Taysom's getting older. He's an impact player. But like I said, we had a window of what we was going to do. Taysom is one of the players, Cam, Taysom, Tyron. Some of these guys are older, productive players that should be contributing to you winning right now, that you competing for, you know, getting in the playoffs at the very least and having an opportunity to try to get there. To try to get there, like be in the playoff conversation every year and getting there and then making something happen. At some point, this is all going to run out where we're not going to be able to have nothing to do with this timeline. The timeline is going to run out. And I'm looking at like this year coming up where that old timeline is going to have to go because Taysom's contract is up, I think, after this year. And, you know, DeMario's getting older, Tyron's getting older. But losing Taysom Hill, bro, at some point, whether it's this year or the next year, man, eventually it's going to happen. He does make a lot of money, man. All right. So anyway, all right, shout out to the fam. Pelicans Nola says, what's up, Big Q and the family? Shout out to Pelicans Nola. Much love to you. All right. H-Town says, Mike Evans, Mike T are the same age. Who you going to pick? Bro, I season when I take Mike Evans, man. I take Mike Evans because of, you know, the fact that he plays more. You know, when his mind is right, he's a dangerous weapon. No disrespect to Mike Thomas, but you make it a real easy when H-Town Creole when you ask me to pick between the two, because Mike Thomas is really not an option here because he's basically already gone. You heard this interview with Derek Carr basically said, I love Mike. You know, I wish him well. I hope he gets what he wants, which is basically just sayonara in him. Yeah, you brung me here. Now I'm shipping your ass up out of here, you know? Like I said, man, people don't want to look in that mirror. Brian says, Q do, he says, Q do T worry? Let me see if I can figure this one out. Clint is going to chew Carr's ass up, and if and yen, and when, okay, I'm sorry, bro. I'm just all kind of ways looking at this, trying to figure it out. And when he messes up, ain't no more PAT on his back. Ain't no, okay, bro, you got the, I'll tell you what, Brian, bro, send me another one. Say, bro, send me another one, bro. Send me another one, bro. Well, I have to work to figure it out, bro. I'm gonna try to answer. Do me another one, brother. Send me another one. KB, what's up, bro? Say, yo, Q, can you see them bringing in? No, bro, no area. I don't see them bringing in and Bieniemy. For what purpose would they be bringing in Eric Bieniemy? I don't see them bringing in Eric Bieniemy, and because if Klint Kubiak's the offensive coordinator, I don't see Bieniemy. What role would Eric Bieniemy play with the Saints? Remember, he had an opportunity a couple of years ago to take the offensive role with the Saints, and I think it was rumored was offensive the coordinator job and an assistant head coach job, and he turned it down. That's when the Saints were trying to figure it out. When the 8-hour interview when they were looking to hire. This the year they hired Dennis Allen. So I don't think Eric Bieniemy, that would sour me to come back to the Saints to play with my time and money like that, or, play with my time for 8 hours and then turn around and offer me an offensive job that I already had. Why would I do that? I think Eric Bieniemy's approach is that he wants to be a head coach. He doesn't get that here with the Saints. The Saints have a glass ceiling here, man. I mean, and it's sad, and like I often talk about at the general manager level, like this team has to get younger. You have to get younger from the top down. There's too many older people up there not doing anything. No disrespect to Gail, but Gail got to learn quick on the job. But these other guys like Mickey Loomis, I'm cool with Mickey being a VP, but we need a more progressive-minded, younger general manager to take that job. And Mickey Loomis is basically blocking everybody from getting that general manager position. He doesn't need 2 jobs. He has a job on the team as the VP. He doesn't need the general manager job either. He doesn't need that. He just wants the credit for being a general manager because nobody talks about a VP unless it's Griffin with the Pelicans because he's so visual. But general manager, we need a real general manager, one that engages the players and not hails or do stupid speeches at the end of the year when it don't count for nothing. It talks about being uncomfortable, making life uncomfortable with them when he's supposed to be the one that's life made uncomfortable by. And I'm doing my absolute best to make his life uncomfortable in terms of being a general manager because he don't need to be that. You're holding on to something that you don't deserve to have. You don't deserve to have that general manager position. You got the VP, you got a job, you do not need 2. You don't even do it well. You're not doing it well. So I'm for getting a younger general manager there, whether it's Kai or one of those. Kai should be the guy. He was elevated to assistant GM last year. Maybe this year he can become the general manager. He's worked with Mickey and showed him the game. Let the man take the job and stop holding people up. Let people progress into the organization, not just training them to go somewhere else. Don't do that, but that's what we're dealing with here. So I don't know what role Bieniemy would take, bro, KB, if it was to go with the Saints. I don't think he realizes, and a lot of people realize, that there is no advancement in the Saints organization if you're looking to advance into the team. You can only advance to a point, and then you cut off. And like I said, Mickey Loomis should make Kai the general manager. He's the VP, but I'm not going anywhere for 10 years, and then I might turn it. Oh no, somebody need to be saying, nah, bro. And that just goes to show you, ain't no evaluations is going on up there, bro. Who's evaluating Mickey Loomis for real? Who's doing it? Is it Dennis Lucia, who's the president of football operations? What is he doing? Who's evaluating these people? Who's doing? See. I'm saying it's a joke, man. Who's evaluating these guys to make sure they're doing their damn jobs? Who's doing it? The answer is nobody. That's how he can talk like that and fail year after year. And then when we come for him, he wants to insult and be elitist and stick his nose up in the air and talk about that you don't know such. You don't know such. I know you're losing. I know you're a failure. That's what I know. I want you dismissed. I want you off the general manager job. Keep your smelly ass VP job. But the general manager, to go somebody that know how to do something with players, that know how to talk to them, know how to appease issues in the building. Not one dude sitting up there with his door closed. Who gonna come with a feathery speech at the end of the year about accountability. Are you kidding me? Get out of here. 504 says, Q, this might be a play for Kubiak to eventually take over as the head coach. I wouldn't be mad at that, bro. I wouldn't be mad. It's not hard to unseat Dennis Allen. The issue is you got Mickey Loomis was not really, he's a general mismanager running a team and has bad sight, bad vision. Don't know what he's doing. Nobody looks at Dennis Allen and say he's a great coach, but a madman. A guy that's off his meds, eyes bucking, face flush, chewing gum, a madman. A guy out of his mind, out of his top, off his meds. Nobody looks at that guy and believes he's a great coach. Come on. Not even he don't even look in the mirror and say, you're a great coach. Keep it real, dude. Tyrell says, we fans are not qualified yet. They still got a new OF and got rid of Marrone. There you go. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Pelican says, Mickey Dumas is in the building. That's right. Oh, hold on now. Dumas. Don't do me that. I've been here. I've been coaching before you guys were even born. Yeah, I'll tell you something. Yo, Q, can you see them bringing in Eric Bieniemy at some kind of offensive reasonable position? No, I do not, bro. I'm sorry, KB. I do not see that. Do you think that this new OC took his job knowing he could be the head coach there next year with DA being fired? If they win, DA won't be fired. So I don't know if he took the job for that. I think he took it as an opportunity to advance somewhere. But in terms of your first question, KB, no Eric Bieniemy. I don't see that even happening because if Clint's the OC, that's Eric Bieniemy's spot. What is he supposed to be, the senior assistant? No, he's going to be an offensive coordinator until he's a head coach. That's what Bieniemy's philosophy is, and that's something that he said a couple of times. I've seen interviews with him doing that. And as terms of your second a question. If the Saints offense succeed, the Saints will extend Dennis Allen. That's all the proof that Mickey Loomis needs, and we won't be able to get rid of him then. So if it's successful, they'll extend Dennis Allen. Mickey Loomis is looking for reasons to keep Dennis Allen as the head coach of this team. If the Saints win next year, you're stuck with Dennis Allen. So we'll see. We'll see how it all goes, KB. Thank you for your questions. All right. H-Town once again says, I was a loyal Saints fan all my 53 years on earth, but when I seen them keeping Noodle Arm past his prime while losing talent, they had opportunity to make a change. They just simply didn't do it. It's all good. All right. Ayo, what's up, fam? Says, okay, this is our first year with a new QB in the system, and we went 9-8. What's your point? Okay, I don't know if that's aimed at me, Ayo, or if you talking in the I don't know what you're saying, but I guess I'll try to answer it to the best of my ability. Just a comment. 9-8 point. A new QB in a new system. If we talking the Saints here, it's not a new system. The Saints have had this system in place for years now. It's the same system minus Sean Payton. The only thing you're missing is an alpha dog, balls, confidence, that type of thing. That's not making Pete Carmichael. So it is a new QB into a QB friendly system that the Saints have had installed for years. So no. So that doesn't work. It's a QB friendly system. 9-8. The point is 9-8 is not a success year. I don't know. I think you commented to somebody else, but 9-8 is not a success year for the New Orleans Saints. And the reason why 9-8 is not a success is because you have an older team. So you got to go back. People got to go back and remember when this started, when Dennis Allen took the job 2 years ago, the understanding was, and this is what they're saying, and I agreed with them at the time, and I still agree, that the Saints are an older team with guys like Cam, Demario Davis, and there's a 2 to 3 year or 3 year time window before these said older players start to regress and play. You see what's happening with Cam now. Demario Davis still playing at a higher level, but at some point, Father Time steps in and you start seeing some of these good veteran productive resources dwindle. So the window for winning needs to happen over that said time frame. 9-8 is not if you're not in the playoffs, it is considered a loss. The only person that gets a win from 9-8 is Dennis Allen, because he never had a winning record as a head coach. Now you can say I had a 9-8 record. Well, the Saints team over the last 2 years, especially, were teams that were designed to be playoff teams. They failed not because of so much of the offseason stuff, but mostly the in-season stuff. Like they'll have trades, or they'll make moves. They'll have signings. They'll bring guys into the team. And it looks good in the off season, but when the on season comes, they can't get it. And that's Dennis Allen's job, of course, is to translate it in success where the Saints make the playoffs. So, you see during the season, him electing not to do anything with the offensive play caller position, meaning Pete Carmichael had many games of failure, losing streaks. He could have made a change offensively and allowed somebody else just to call the plays, because this happens. We see it out the NFL. Offensive coordinator struggles. We bring in another guy. Let him just see if his assistant or whatever, the QB's coach or the pass game coordinator, calls the plays. Let's see if the offense responds to that. None of that happened. He never changed anything. It just stayed the same. And then they lose, and he just makes excuses at the end of the year that he's pissed. And he's pissed because he didn't make the in-season changes. So you have the resources from the out season or the off season. When it comes to on season, it's the head coach's job to get this team to win. And they didn't win because they were not prepared properly week after week. 9 wasn't enough. And in the weak NFC South, with a team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had lost Tom Brady. The Saints were favorites, and they couldn't even get that done. So 9-8 is not a good year for the New Orleans Saints. Greg says divide and conquer. Carey knew when he was doing by name dropping Olave's name at the number 1 receiver. Okay, thank you. See, yeah, divide and conquer. Yeah, and he hung out Chris Olave, but I don't respect that type of behavior. And that's why I kind of look at Carr side-eyed, because I've caught him lying in interviews before. And it's real sketchy behavior. And when you start seeing, because nobody's perfect, but at the end of the day, it's 2 things you want to see from the leaders of the team. You want to see them take the arrows and bows, even if they're not at fault, take those, because that's how you get to respect the teammates around, like people that know that they were at fault for dropping a pass or missing a block or fumbling the ball or whatnot. Head quarterback comes out, says, that's all on me, man. I should have, I've got to done this, that. Take the blows. You're the leader of the team. That's what it's about. That's why you make the money. $150 million. You're supposed to be the guy that take all of the responsibility of why the team loses. And, most of the time when they loses or fails, and even though they win and you're a big part of it, you say we win as a team. But when you lose, you take the blows. That's what leaders do. The same thing with the head coach. The head coach not supposed to get on the press conference at the end of the season and backstabs his offensive unit. They did that on their own and apologized to a rival. That stuff, tell you how it should have been handled behind closed doors. Like everybody want these tweets and all this stuff happen that they keep talking about. Michael Thomas shouldn't have done this. He should have called me and we'll handle it behind closed doors. Why? Same damn thing with Dennis Allen. Nobody shouldn't have known about the team running the play without his consent. He blew the whistle on all of them and threw his team under the bus. That's not a leader does that. Nobody wants to play for a guy like that. You can't trust that guy. He's been accused of lying and backstabbing before. He was with the Raiders. He lied and backstabbed. With the Saints, he does it. You don't put a weaselly little guy like that over your team. You'll have instant division from the start, and teams need to be together to win. So, having non-accountability, a weaselly, backstabby coach, and a guy that don't want to take accountability for hanging his wide receivers out to dry, that's not a good recipe for anything that's good. All right. So anyway, all right, y'all the guys, y'all got Jack says, I don't think the Saints could cut MT because they will be in lawsuit for injuries. I don't know if that to be true, bro. All right. Anyway, any questions, fam? All right. AO says, I'm laughing, we're bashing card. Bro, listen, open your ears. AO, Toto, whatever. Listen to what people are saying. I don't know who you commenting to in the press. I think in the chat, you're talking to somebody, but listen, you're not bashing somebody. See, this is understand me and hear me well. Hear me. Understand what I'm saying to you is that you're not bashing somebody when you point out the fact of the situation surrounding where the team is supposed to be. We're not talking about him throwing 25 or 28, whatever the touchdowns versus interceptions. We're talking about Carr's accountability, why these things are happening. Mike Thomas is not tweeting for his health. He's had constant circumstances with his other wide receivers, Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave. They've gotten into it. He got into it with McCoy, and McCoy don't get into it with anybody. The issue is, why is he getting into it with all these people? Is because that's not how leaders lead. It's frustration because he's not taking accountability for his actions, for what's going on with the field. And they don't appreciate that. Like if it's one isolated incident, that's different. But this stuff keeps reoccurring. It's not Carr bashing when we talk about Carr's inabilities to be more accountable. He's making $150 million quarterbacks. You can't afford to coddle and protect him. If he does wrong, you got to say what he did wrong. If he does well, you got to say what he does well. But when you took the $150 million job to be here, it comes with playoff trips. None of this. He knew that coming into it. Like, you get signed here, you got to get the team to the playoffs. You got to be there, and anything short of that is a failure. That's how it is. Every situation is different in the NFL. But here in New Orleans, older team, $150 million spent on the quarterback. He has to get them there. And it's considered a failure because, listen, they done fired all of the damn people around them. We just going to look past the fact that they fired Pete Carmichael. Going to look past the fact that they done fired everybody around them. Majority of all the assistant coaches that were fired. He failed. It was a failure. If it was a success, then most of these guys would still have their job. There wouldn't be no need to go and look for another offensive coordinator to be with him it was a failure. So that's why they just dismantling the offense around him. And now he's going to go into another year with a whole new system to learn again. So he will have struggles again. Remember, it took him the last month of the season before he started showing some consistency. By that time, the Saints' window of operating was out. They lost to the Rams. They lost to teams they shouldn't have lost to. And a lot of the games you go back and watch, it were terrible performances by the offense. They were just kicking field goals in the game. Just field goal kicking. Offense 3 and out and 3 and out and 3 and out and 3 and out. And poor throws, interceptions, overthrows, miscommunications. This key throwing to this area and the guy going to the other side. Constant miscommunications between the quarterback and his wide receivers. Constant. Even when you're like, what, half the season in, you still having these several of them during games. It was like really baffling. Like, how are they still disjointed? So we might have to repeat this in the end, but just remember that when you step into this building, there are standards. There's a ceiling. There are expectations for Carr in this system. And people still remember what a real quarterback looked like with Drew Brees. They understand Carr has a lot of pluses, but he has a lot of minuses. But to fix those minuses, he got to see them. And oftentimes the Saints coddle him a little too much for me. All right. So Scoop says Q does the promoting DA, begging Pete to stay, bringing in Carr, and refusing to rebuild, make one without rose-colored glasses. I think you answered your own question, Scoob. What it do, pimping? Yeah, I think you answered your own question there, my brother. Well put. But you know what? It's a part of the game. Like, we've patiently looking at the DA thing. We are familiar with who Dennis Allen is, not just the first couple of years, but the thing about Dennis Allen that make him not a likable guy is the fact that he's another guy that doesn't take any accountability, a guy that runs for things, doesn't have any energy, no motivation, no vision. And this is the type of stuff that you need. And how we know? Because we know what a real head coach looks like. We see them all the time when they walking out of the Saints building with a win. We know what real coaches look like. So it's not a knock on these guys, but you can't cover it one way. You just can't create and say, I guess you can, but to me, that's not keeping it real. We won't get nothing fixed if we don't look at it seriously. You know what I'm saying? Because being positive has its places. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I'm more like to have a balanced approach, because a lot of this I'm positive on, and a lot of it I'm not, because it ain't nothing to be positive about. There's no positive in the fact that guys are not doing their job correctly, and they don't even want to do their job correctly, or they're not showing the actions or the motivations to want to do the job better. So not so much to overpower, positize you guys, if that's a real word. I guess not. If not, I just made the shit up. So y'all, I'm about to coin positize. I don't want to over positize you guys, and I don't want to over negatize you guys. I want to kind of balantize you guys. You see what I'm saying here? You dig what I'm saying here? That's what I'm working on that. But yeah, I don't want to give you one more than the other. That's what calling it down the line is, like keeping it balanced. And I don't like the fact that my head coach is backstabbing. I don't like that, because I do recognize that limits your success on how far you can get, because you're ultimately, when you get into the playoffs, you're going to be playing against teams that love their head coach. They don't have any cracks in their armor in terms of that. That go out and play 100% hard for their coach, that believe in their coach, that love their coach. And unfortunately, like, we'll play a team that has that, and that team will beat us. So it's a lot of stuff than just talent and schematics. A lot of it's people, and we got to remember that. So, I don't like that, but at the end of the day, me over positizing you guys, that ain't gonna fix the problem, man. I'm just puffing smoke up your backside. And we don't want to do that. I want to make sure I'm fair, straight down the line as much as I can be. I'm gonna just be honest with you. All right. Thank you, Scoop. Appreciate that, man. All right. And hey, come on, bro. You a troll or something, bro? Stop that, man. We haven't won a Super Bowl in 09. We haven't been actual contenders since 2018. But all the real Saints people tell it's all the fault of DA and Carr. It's sad. Whose fault is it then? Is it my fault? Is it the people in the chat that you're arguing with? Whose fault is it? If it's not Dennis Allen, see, these people detached from reality, bro. I'm starting to think you're a troll, man. If somebody that's real intelligent, they wouldn't say something as asinine as what you're saying about whose damn fault is it? He's the head coach of the team. He put the team together, bro. He picks the quarterback. The quarterback doesn't make the passes, doesn't do what he's supposed to do. The team loses. Do you not understand how impactful a head coach and a quarterback is to the overall success of a football team? What are we talking about right here? What are we talking about? Who are you going to blame for that? Who you going to point the finger at and say, we got to fix it? If it's not the head coach of the team, who's the boss of the team on the field, and he has all the personnel ability to call and pick who he wants, and he picks shitty head coach, he picks city assistants, or he picks a quarterback that is not as good, whose fault is it? Is my damn fault? Is it Scoop's fault? Is it Ulysses' fault? Is it Pelican Nola's fault? Whose fault is it? Whose fault is it? It's not my damn fault. Whose fault is it if it's not the head coach, man? See, that's a part of taking the job. That's why head coaches get fired, because they make bad decisions. They make bad bets. It is his. It's all on him. The credit and the blame falls on the head coach and the people that he put around him. If the people around him fail him, it's still his fault because he picked them. Are we in the same reality here? You know, I don't get it, man. I mean, I don't see it. I don't know. This is how it goes, and that's why people get fired all the time. Whose fault is it if it's not the head coach? Head coach. Head means boss of the team. Ability to make personnel decisions. He picks his own quarterback, his own wide receiver. He drafts the players that he wants. Whose fault is it if the team fails on the field? It is the head coach. He gets both the credit and the blame. That's not a new concept, man. That's been going on since the dawn of civilization, since they had people that's running shit. If you have a bad CEO of a team and a team of a company, and the company is losing money, more than likely, if there's an owner and he picked the guy to be a CEO and it's not being profitable, that guy's gonna fire that guy and put somebody there that know what they're doing. It ain't nothing new. It don't change. It doesn't change. It falls on him. People gonna point at him because they got good sense. Ain't gonna say, well, with the Saints fall, they're 9-8. That mean that ain't Dennis Allen's fault. He went 9-8. Not a success, fam. You gotta win. You gotta get in the playoffs. People be forgetting. I don't know what people be thinking about, fam. But hang around, man. Hang close to the coma. We'll get you straight, man. Because if you don't know who to point the finger at because you're failing, bro, I don't know what to tell you. Hang around and listen to some of these people. They'll get you straight. Jack says Carr got off season to get stuff down as soon as that Super Bowl's over. He better get his hands on that playbook. Yeah, indeed, bro. I agree with you. DJ D Smooth says Jameson Hill could have done that, man. Please. All right. John says hopefully Kubiak will call the offense better than DA did, right? Well, Dennis Allen never called the offense, John. I know what you're hitting at, though. But, yeah, that was Pete Carmichael. He gave all of the offensive duties over to Pete Carmichael to run that as he see fit, you know. But at the same time, he's still a head coach. He delegated power irresponsibly because at any time he could have stepped in and changed things up, make Ronald Curry the play caller for the game, do something different to kind of change things around as opposed to just let them stay the same and then they fail. Then you fire Carmichael. You know, you could have changed it during the season. He refused to do it because he's not a visionary. That's one of the flaws of Dennis Allen's game. It's not a dig on Dennis Allen. It's the truth. You can make a list of things that people are good at, like Dennis Allen, really good defensive coordinator. But as a head coach, he lacks all of this stuff. He's a poor communicator, poor motivator. He's a poor overseer. Like he's supposed to operate as an overseer for the team. He still behaves in many respects as a defensive coordinator, pretending to be a head coach. You know, when you see people struggling, you're supposed to go over there and question them, make sure things are right, do this, do that. Because the team basically, you know, if they fail, it's still on you. Now, he scapegoated Pete this year, but there is no scapegoating you next year. The eyes are focused on you big time for the third year. And remember, the goal is for the Saints' older team is to be a playoff team every year. And that's not me saying it, but that's what they said when they were doing this whole experimentation. They said it, we agreed with it, and we're holding them to it. So don't miss me with the fact that we have this and then and this, that, man. I don't care about any of that. All I care about is what's happening now and how we get it turned around, and not finding out who's a part of it or why it stinks. It's not going to get you. You won't get to the bottom of it. You won't get to the bottom unless you find out what's wrong with this team and then making the necessary changes moving forward. And not only that, but if you're a head coach and you realize that you got flaws in your game, you're supposed to do stuff in the offseason to correct it. Go to motivational school, talk, learn how to be a better communicator. Stop backstabbing people. Stop being a little weasel, learn to make guys more accountable. Learn, you can learn these things. Stop, you see what I'm saying? Just don't go into next year the same dude you was, but you just got different coaches and different players, but you ain't learned nothing as a head coach. That's what I'm saying. Improve yourself as a person. Pick up new skills. It's called reskilling yourself. People do it all the time in the market, in the work market. People pick up new skills, they get training, and they use it. They go back in it to increase their value in the work market. It's the same thing. You're supposed to, if you're a head coach and you're lacking stuff, you're supposed to be doing that every year, picking up better things to make you better, right? And I get you, John. Thank you for that. Appreciate you. D Smooth said, I'm not a fan of DC, but Derek Carr had a passer rating of 118.9 with 11-17, 14 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 5 games in the last 5 games. Good stuff. But it didn't earn you nothing. Like, that's just stat packing. You still finished 9-8. And like I said, it was supposed to be a QB-friendly system. It took way too long to pick it up. The statistics at the last month of the season were promising. But it took them way too long to pick this stuff up, man. Way too long. It took the last month before the season, and the Saints had lost all those games and basically put themselves out of thing. Here go Mickey. What's up, Mickey? What are you guys talking about here? Mike T used to bash Breeze on social media. That's true, Mickey. You're right. Mike T decided not to have surgery. No. Hold on, Mickey. Hold on, I'm gonna read your comment. When doctors told him to, and it cost him. Mickey, you got to spell check, Mickey. I know you don't know that, which you probably sending this out on a Blueberry. All right, so he cast it cost him 2 seasons on the sideline in rehab. Somebody made the chat says, Q, you reading like DC? I can't help it, man. People sending me some crazy shit. I'm fumbling over this shit. I'm saying, man, what? What are you guys putting in this chat, man? What y'all doing to me? All right, he says cost him 2 seasons on the sideline in rehab. When does Mike T become accountable? You're absolutely right, Mickey. Mike shouldn't be on social media. I've said that. Mike shouldn't be on social media blabbing his guts out about how he doesn't like Carr or saying this, that, and the third. He shouldn't be doing that. But are you, and I'm asking Mickey, are you providing an atmosphere in which Mike Thomas or any player in particular that is frustrated what's going on with the Saints come to you and hash out their differences? Are you a fair evaluator? Are you doing your best to mediate a lot of the hate, out of your organization? Are you doing that? Or are you a shameless promoter of the head coach you pick because you don't want to be looked up as being a flawed general manager because you chose wrongly? So, I mean, this question does you because you're the general manager, Mickey. You have to be able to provide the atmosphere and an environment for players who are disgruntled to come to them, just like most people do that have a company. That if you have it, or you do, I don't know, I know you don't have an HR department, but you're the general manager, deal with personnel, so that guy would be you. So do you have a way where guys can come into your office and kind of hash out their, their disgruntled commentaries about players or schemes or whatever in the building? Do you do that? But he's accountable. But also Mickey Loomis is supposed to be accountable as well. You can't run and hide, Mickey, and then come out and do press conferences at the end of the year talking about, well, listen, you guys, we finished 9-8, and you guys I'm gonna make you guys uncomfortable. No, Mickey, you can't do that. You can't do that, Mickey. All right, shout out to Mickey, man. All right, Arvis says DJ D Smooth Carr put up stats in garbage time in the Rams game, so he really should have 900 yards, 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions last 5 games, but he played well down the stretch. He did. He finally picked it up. All right, Mickey says, you have recipes and I have invoices. You got some invoices? Okay, you guys, no, you got that backwards, Mickey. I have the invoices. You got the recipes. I heard you whipped together some mean clam chowder, Mickey. I heard that, brother. Is that true, Mickey? I've been hearing about that mean clam chowder you've been putting together over there. All right, Greg says, Q, do you think the emergence of A.T. Perry has also led to Mike T's eventual departure from NOLA? He's a big body receiver that shows that he can get the 50-50 balls. You know what, Greg? I just think ultimately the time has come, bro, with Mike Thomas. He played well when he had an opportunity to, then he got hurt, then he never came back. And I think the ship has kind of sailed over the last several years. Now, Mickey just made mention of the fact that he elected not to have surgery. That's not how it really worked out. And the truth kind of came out on that whole situation. And right before he started, because remember, he could have tweeted the full story. Mike Thomas, all he tweeted during that time was, "That's not true, such and such, and the Saints are lying about my surgery," or something like that. Y'all put one in the chat if y'all remember that, because I covered that at the time. And right before, he could have aired all of the dirty laundry out, and he didn't. The Saints came out and him and Mike and Sean and all of them made it work. Y'all remember that? Put one in the chat, because he could have aired out their dirty laundry then, but he said the Saints are trying to damage my reputation. He said something like that. Y'all remember? Put one in the chat if y'all remember that. But he didn't go in on him. He could have. He didn't go in on him then. But you're right, though, Mickey. He did tweet about Drew Brees and stuff like that. He does do that. But like I said, there should be a policy somewhere in the building, or if there's a place, if you got a disgruntled player, he's supposed to be able to go to upper management. If he can't go to Dennis Allen or his quarterback, go to upper management. And there's no human resources department or personnel department that usually falls under Mickey Lomas. He's the head of the personnel department. He's the general manager. You know, he's supposed to be doing some managing of all of the personnel in the building. So his doors should be open for disgruntled people to come in and air out their grievances. And Mickey has the power to take the head coach and the wide receiver, whoever it is, and put them in the same room and have them to come together for the betterment of the team. That's what a real good general manager does. Not keep his door closed. And like Kat Terrell was asking him in the press conference, she said, "Mickey, you have limited contact with players during the season. What did you say to them in the speech?" Well, that was for their ears. So that's what he was responding to. But she hinted on him. He don't talk to anybody during the season, and that's a shame. How are you the general manager of the team and you're not doing your damn job is all I'm asking. But in terms of the Mike T situation with A.T. Perry showed a lot, and the future is bright for A.T. Perry. He did a lot of positive things, but I don't know if I'm ready to say A.T. Perry should be the starting wide receiver or in that role next year. I think he showed us a lot of things, and he was positive. But at the end of the day, do you really think that if the Saints have an opportunity to take a wide receiver in the second round, if one falls to him like a Keon Coleman or somebody else like that, or what's the brother from with Xavier Worthy, or what's the brother from South Carolina that's really good, who's a really big physical wide receiver that if he fell to the Saints in the second round wouldn't be a bad selection? That guy. Do you really say, nah, we're going to look past him and we're going to keep A.T. Perry? I think A.T. Perry eventually will be a more of a plus in the wide receiver room, but I don't know if to say that he's ready to step in where Mike Thomas was. You get what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm going to say that. I do like A.T. Perry a lot, though. But thank you for that. All right. Jack says it's his fault. Okay, yeah, for this. Yes, pathetic display of football. And listen, I'm not trying to go at AO. I'm not trying to disparage you, AO. I'm just saying that's the same anywhere. Like if you are a owner of a company and you pick all the personnel and then your company starts failing, you don't point to the guy in the mail room and says your fault that the company's failing. The guy go like, "What the hell? What are you talking about? I don't have the power to affect your company like that." You see what I'm saying? So the failures is usually because of a person has been given power or been given influence, power, or the ability to direct, assets a certain kind of way. And if the person who has the power, the head coach, it doesn't do that correctly, and the team fails, you can't go then point at the offensive coordinator and say, "We failed because of you." No, offense looks stunk. It looks stink, but really it's still the head coach who was supposed to see that, make a change during the season when it counted, and change some things around. He didn't do anything. He just let it stay the same. That is poor management. Very poor management. And when he did that, that showed me so much about him being a head coach, that he's a poor one. That's why the team plays. It's a up and down team. You see them play one game, they'll do this, and then the next game they're not ready to play. They might win a game or two, then come back and get a blowout. Then it's just up and down all the time during the year, and that's because of the coach and his preparatory style, his preparation, his discipline. Because most coaches that are successful are disciplined style coaches. They believe in keeping the trains running on time, so to speak. You know what I mean? And if this guy who's very loose discipline wise, he's very loose on his attention to detail. I noticed this. Everybody noticed this. And then you got Mickey saying, well, he's a great coach. What part of Dennis Allen is great as a head coach? You can't answer that without embellishing or making up some fabricated crap. Nothing is great about Dennis Allen. Even the defense that he champions gave up 18 points to the Green Bay Packers in 11 minutes. How did that happen? It gave up 11, it let them score 18 points in 11 minutes to beat the Saints. And ultimately, that was the game that did it to us. If we beat Green Bay, we in there. You were supposed to win. That was the worst loss of the season. You were up 17-0, and it just went collapse in 11 minutes. Not even a full quarter, 11 minutes. Defense allowed that to happen. So like I said, it's nothing great about Dennis Allen to me right now. And I'm not being mad, mean to him. I'm just keeping it real. I would call him great if I seen some great stuff. He's a good defensive coordinator, but he is lacking in terms of being a head coach. He doesn't handle his personnel right. He's not as disciplined as you like, way not disciplined enough. He doesn't pay attention to details like you would like him to do. He's not a great motivator. He's not. It's just a lot of stuff that you would see that you want from the coach. And I constantly keep saying the same thing over and over again. I just don't see greatness in terms of him being a head coach. He might be a great father. He might be, I don't know, might be a great person outside the door. I doubt it. Him backstabbing his own people like that. I doubt anybody want to hang around with somebody you can't even trust like that. But in the end, I wouldn't be hanging with him. All right. Yeah. Arvin, shout out to you, fam, says, and we went 9-8 with the easiest schedule. Indeed. Add that to it. It's a lot to it, fam. You went 9-8 with one of the easiest schedules in the league in the worst division in the league. And Tom Brady wasn't there. And he said they're acting like Super Bowl contenders. That's just smoke and mirrors. And some people fall for it. But see, when you're a veteran of watching Saints football, you've seen not just the wins, because there are a lot of people that were born into the Saints culture, the winning culture, that never experienced the losing. And I've experienced both. I've seen the Saints lose badly before we started winning. We've had both sides. And listen, it's a big difference. And for those who were born during the glory time, they don't understand before. Talk to somebody or listen to people before. Take some of their insight into your mind state so that you be fully engrossed in everything that's going on with Saints culture, not just the winning, because there was a lot of losing years that led to that. That'll give you insight on what to look at for the Saints going forward. Like you wouldn't buy into it. Like you won't get sucked into the fake success stuff that they attempt to do, promote. Once they get to a point, they're going to start the promotion to get you all riled up to go at it again. So, just keep that in mind. But thank you for that, Arvin. Well said. Rock says, love the pastor Q. Do you see the Saints drafting the quarterback in the first 2 rounds? Who do you like? I don't see the Saints drafting the quarterback, bro, because I once again, the Saints, we're talking about Dennis Allen and just pretty much Dennis Allen, because he makes the determination on who he wants on his team, and Mickey Loomis just going to do what he wants. So really is Dennis Allen. And I don't see Dennis Allen over the first couple of rounds, the first couple of selections, taking a quarterback simply because he doesn't want Derek Carr to be uncomfortable. Like the whole Jake Hayner pickup was Derek Carr influenced, because his mentality was he's going to take the job, and he's not going to, he doesn't want another veteran on his back that might outperform him or force him to be better. So the Saints took Jake Hayner from Fresno State, same place that Carr came from. And by the time Hayner gets ready, and according to Carr, this was Carr said when they were asking about that Jake Hayner pick, and he told him that he was involved in the pick. He was pushing for them to go and get Jake Hayner. And by the time Jake Hayner's ready to play, Carr's contract will be over with, which means that if that's the case, he won't be having any serious competition for him while he's the starter of the team. You see what I'm saying? You just got to read in between the words. But that's what I picked up. Why else would he be involved in who the Saints pick as a quarterback? Because he can graft it in a situation where nobody's on his back forcing him to do something, or he's competing for the job, even though he's a starting quarterback. But if he fails and he's struggling, people are going to call for the backup. So if you got a veteran there that comes in and they put that good work in, that puts pressure on Carr. So if you take a quarterback in the first or 2 rounds, that's the same thing. A lot of people are going to be calling to see what that young guy could do. And the Saints are not going to do that to Derek Carr. They're going to make sure he's nice and comfortable. Hell, they don't even much want to criticize him. They're not going to take the quarterback to bring competition to it, and that's unfortunately that's what Jake Hayner's here for. But me personally, I did a mock draft on our Patreon and our YouTube membership family. I did a mock draft, the first one of the season, and I did a mock. And in the mock, I made some good selections there, and I did take a quarterback. I took Travis Jordan out of where's he from? What's Travis? From Florida State. I think I took him in with one of the draft picks, and the reason why, Jordan Travis. I took Jordan Travis from Florida State because I realized that with Travis Jordan, he's a guy that if he was healthy, he would be one of the top 5 quarterbacks in this draft. And they got a bunch of good ones that's there. Jaden Daniels, Williams from USC's there. You got May from North Carolina. Michael Penix Jr. is a lot better than, in my opinion, I like him more than May. I like him. You got Bo Nix in there, but when you talk about a guy like Travis Jordan, what he did with Florida State, not just this year, but last year, he has like 3 years of a lot of productivity from him. A really good young quarterback with a lot of upside, and he will be hurt. He's rehabbing because he got hurt during the season, which means his draft stock is going to fall. So if you're able to get him in the 3rd round or the 4th round, you take him because he's a first-round talent quarterback. If he falls to the third round or the 4th round, you take him, and then you stash him on your team, and then he's a future pick. That guy will outperform Jake Hayner. He's a better quarterback completely than Jake Hayner is. So that's what I would do, and you would get a potential starter there with Travis Jordan. He was phenomenal, man. Unfortunately, got hurt. So that'd probably be who I would look at doing. I like that kid, man. I don't think we don't get any. Bo Nix is cool too. He got a lot of college experience. He's a player. Oh yeah, my guy from Tulane, Michael Pratt, is a really solid quarterback, man. He's another really good quarterback that you can look at from Tulane. He broke all of their records there. The dude is solid. He has the accuracy, the height, and he's really has a high football IQ. He might rise up in the rankings as far as the quarterback's concerned, but he's another solid quarterback that if I was the Saints, I'll be looking at. But yeah, Jordan Travis is a guy that I keep saying it backwards. Travis Jordan would be the guy that I would look at like in the 3rd rounds or 4th. And some tell me he might be there because he's still rehabbing. All right. So anyway, IT Greatness says, do you think we can find some value in Penning if he's moved to guard, or is he a bust? Also, P. Turner, do you think he's salvageable or a bust? Trevor Penning, I don't know about guard for Trevor Penning. I think the Saints, before listen, I get what you're saying, like having them play multiple positions. I'm not mad at that. But before we decide to go guard, I would like to see Trevor Penning as a right tackle first before we decide to go guard with him. I know they tried him at the left tackle position. Family, put one in the chat if you remember me saying week after week, month after month, that kid shouldn't be a left tackle. I kept saying it. It was a disaster. I kept telling them that that's the wrong thing to do. Don't do that. Don't do that, because it's only a certain type of players that you can do that with. And Penning wasn't that kind of guy. Like you would know who you like. You got a guy coming out like a Jonathan Ogden type coming out of college, or Orlando Pace, or guys like that. You can see that they're that type of player, because the blindside position is such an important position, because you're going to see the best pass rushers. You're going to see the best that the opposition defense has from that side, because they're going to attack the blind side of the quarterback. So you got to have your stuff together if you're going to play that position. That's a big money position with a lot of critique, with a lot of stuff on it, period. A lot of power to that position. And you got to be about the business. If you're going to play left tackle in the NFL, you're going to see the best pass rushers week after week. And that was not Penning. So right tackle, I would love to see him tried at right tackle, which is what I was saying. Let's see him at right tackle. The Saints did not want to move Ryan Ramczyk. Don't forget that Ryan Ramczyk might not play again for the rest of his career. He has to get his knee looked at. It's really in bad shape. He should have got the surgery a year ago. He elected to get pain shots, and it got bad, so bad that the pain shots didn't work anymore. So he got a bad knee, and Ryan Ramczyk's career is in doubt. So the right tackle position let's try right tackle for Penning before we ultimately decide to try to see we move him to guard, because they're going to try to justify the pick, right? They're not going to just bust him. They're going to try him at the right tackle position, see if that works. If he don't, they'll try him at the guard position. But really, I think let's try him at right tackle. I think right tackle is the best spot for Trevor Penning, to keep it real. And also on Peyton Turner, do you see him as salvageable or a bust? I'm not going to use bust right now for Peyton Turner, because when Peyton Turner's healthy, he does go out there and he does perform. Like when was the last game of the season? He got the fumble or whatever it was. I forgot, he got the turnover. But, like I'm saying, fam, we look at like Peyton Turner, I still think there's something there. But we getting close, though, because remember, they put a lot of bad energy on Peyton Turner when they drafted him. They seen him as a Davenport type player. And I was like, I think we might be in trouble here, because we don't want nothing to do with no Davenport. I was saying it at the time, like Davenport hadn't done anything for us. Why are we comparing Peyton Turner to Davenport? He ain't done nothing. So, I mean, yeah, I'm hoping. I just want to get that mystique of Davenport off him, that rotten energy of Davenport off of Peyton Turner. I think Peyton Turner, when he plays, he has an impact. The thing is, him staying on the field he has to get over it. He has to get over the injuries, and that right there, that's hard to say. So I'm not going to throw the bust on him yet, but it's getting close, though. It's definitely. What's up, Chris? How you doing, sir? Appreciate you being here. Much love. Brother Charles says, I like Penning at guard, but a lot of people don't think he just needs to settle down and play with less aggression. I like him at right tackle, bro. I think that's what I like him at. What's up, DJ Smooth? How you doing, sir? Good to see you in the chat, man. Much love. Appreciate you popping in. Brother Quavadia says Carr throwing Olave in the middle of the drama is going to have him beefing with him before the next season starts. Really interesting. Yeah. All right. Arvis says Mickey Loomis don't even disrespect the Who That Nation clown. Oh, Mickey. Hey, bro. I showed you, man. Listen, all I do is just I put it in front of people. That's all I do. Now, I do have strong commentary, bro. And that ties, I'm going to tell a lot of family members that just started listening to the Coma, because we got people that have been listening to the show for years. We've been on here for a while. And they're used to my strong commentary. But there are people that listen to other shows and, I don't know, it's somewhere in the middle, but I have some strong takes. I really do. And that's because I'm not just some guy covering the team, right? I'm a diehard guy for 30 plus years. So I've seen a lot, right? And, as a child, this was my club. So it hits differently when I'm talking about the Saints versus, say, a Cowboys or the Buccaneers, or some team I don't have an emotional connection to, a positive one in any way. But it hits differently. So when I see a lot of this, and then the thing is, I know these people. I know how a Mickey Loomis acts. I know what they're thinking. They're very easy to read. We cover them all the time. We know their emotions, and we know what they're going to do. They're very simple people to read. They're not complicated at all. And I cover that. I talk a lot about that on the channel. But also, we keep it real here. I'm not going to sit here and how I go, family, over positize you guys. I'm not going to over positize you guys, because that's not balance. You can't have one more than other. You got to try to make sure. Now, sometimes I'll be going off. I ain't gonna lie, because I'll be upset, about what I see, just like you guys do. I'm not going to tell you nothing, no different about it. But, I got to give you both sides in the best way I can down the line and keep it real. So that's what I do. There you go. Thank you for that, bro. Yeah, Leggett. Thank you, Red Swamp. Shout out to you. I was thinking, that was who I was thinking about in terms of the guy from South Carolina who I would take if he was there. And I know we got A.T. Perry, but that Leggett guy is awesome, man. He's awesome. Brother Bullet says, Bullet family travel vlogs is cute. One thing is the main media people for the Saints they have a meeting with Mickey, just like Mickey had with the players, and there was a lot of the season wasn't bad as we thought right at the end. Indeed. Well, the thing is, like, you seen what was going to go on. Like, we knew that Mickey was going to hold on to Dennis Allen. You knew that. There was no real pressure on him to win. Mickey was going to keep him anyway. But the reality is, are they ready? And you're right on the media. Media meets with them all the time. They tell them what to report on, what not to report on. They do that. Don't let them tell you that they don't. Like, it's stuff that you can, that is fair, that you can cover this, but we don't want you to cover that. And if you cover it, there are going to be repercussions for you covering it. They'll take your media pass, restrict your access to the team, to the players. You see? So they have that dynamic. Even though you have the press credentials, they can elect not to grant you press credentials. You could be a member of the press. I know all about it. But see, to me, like, it's a way where they're controlled to a point and you get the news, but they play the game. That's just how it go. You know, they play the game. You know, and somewhere in between the middle is you. Like, it's this team over here, the reporters over here, and you're the person there that's hearing from the team. It's set up a certain type of way. But at some point, does it really make a difference? We got a ton of reports. We get the reports anyway. Does it make a difference if I could be like, you go get the such and such? Yeah, I get it. And I'll probably send somebody else down there. You know what I'm saying? I could do that. I got all the information. I'm going to do it anyway. But in the end, you know, we don't want to lose the realness. We don't want to lose the realness because of a connection to the team. You get what I'm saying? That I can't come at them hard like I come at them now because I got a press badge. So they get mad and say, Q, I heard what you said, man. We're not letting you in here today. I said, well, you got to lighten up your commentary, all that kind of stuff, bro. Do we really need to do that, man? I like telling it like it is, whether they like it or not. I think we appeasing too many people anyway. All right, DJ D Smooth. I think Pete was trying to separate himself from Peyton's playbook, and it backfired. Pete finally went back to Peyton playbook and was successful at the end, but it was too late. And he ended up going back to Peyton, period. He traveled and followed him up there to Denver. So, yeah, it was one of those things. Brother Liddell says Carr is trying to buddy up for exposing him, so when he leaves, he's going to talk about us like a dog. Well, you know, it is what it is, you know, in that regard. All right, Demi says, I was one of the family members born into, indeed, Demi, I know you one. We got a lot of them here. Oh, yeah, look, Jack said the Dicker years. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I can't over-positize you guys on some of that stuff, man, because, you know, I try to keep it as balanced as I possibly can and keep it real. T. Greatness says, do you think Pete is ready to take DeMario's spot? He was healthy last year for the first time, so that's a positive. I had the question is, can he do that? Oh, man. I like Pete Werner a lot. Oh, man. Is he ready to take DeMario Davis' spot? Man, I'm gonna have to say no on that right now. I mean, DeMario, he means so much to the Saints defense, man. And DeMario Davis is older, but he doesn't play like that. It's like he's still like 5 years younger than what he actually is. He's playing on that level. His excitement, his intelligence, his longevity, you know. 1 year of healthy Pete Werner. I like Pete Werner a lot, man, but that's a tough thing to talk about. DeMario Davis, is he ready to replace him? DeMario does. I'm gonna have to say no right now, bro. I'm gonna have to say no on that. But I like him though. He's headed in a direction, but that's a tough order to kind of look at, man. Replacing DeMario Davis and all the things that he does. Oh man. I don't know, bro. I would have to say no right now. I'm going over it in my head. Bullet Family says Q for the cow. I was trying to red light, trying to get it typed up quickly. And okay, it's no problem, bro. Shout out to you, bro. Yeah, we had some, bro. We got in today, man. I was like, man, I was like, oh man, kind of retype this one and send it back at me. All right, Michael, what's up? Mike says, do we trade Lattimore? I don't want to trade Lattimore, bro. I believe that. This is just me. The Saints raised Lattimore up in through the ranks. He became a really good cornerback, a shutdown guy. He's been dealing with some injuries over the last couple of years or so. He had a real freak one in that he got hurt this past year, real freak when the guy rolled, you know, he was running. I remember, y'all remember what happened with him. He was running into a certain area and another player rolled up and he was moving and the guy just caught him and caught his left foot and rolled up on him a little bit and he just hopped off. Or it was just like a freak thing. It wasn't like he just getting hurt. That last injury was kind of a freaky kind of injury. He got rolled up on. in the open field, I think it was. He got rolled up on. Just a freaky thing. So, I mean, I wouldn't want to trade Lattimore. I hear them restructuring that deal, and it does appear like a lot of rumors are circulating that they want to move. They're thinking about trading Lattimore, and this difference in opinions and what's going on. It's a lot of stuff that's going to come out eventually. I would not want to trade Lattimore. Now, granted, Paulson Adebo looked really well coming out of that sophomore year. Alante Taylor in his sophomore year kind of struggled a bit, but I expect Alante Taylor to be special. Isaac Yiadom had a humongous improvement as a defensive back from what he was the year prior. He started learning to turn around, whip his head around, and he became a better tackler. He had a big jump in progression for him, but that still doesn't make me, with all that positive stuff, doesn't make me feel extra special to say, okay, I'm cool with those guys where we could trade a Lattimore. I would rather still keep Marshawn here, with this great secondary that we have. The only person I would get rid of in the secondary is Marcus May, because I think Jordan Howden is the future at that position. So I would consider getting rid of Marcus May because he's always hurt. He's not, and we got Jordan Howden now. We can save some money by getting rid of Marcus May. But outside of trading Lattimore, I'm not for that. I don't think we should trade Lattimore. I think we should keep him and keep that secondary together. It's a very special unit. So that's what I do. But I hear a lot of rumors are circulating around the Saints ultimately looking at trying to trade him, man. It's unfortunate. I hope it's not true, but it's just rumors right now. T. Greatest, do you think the new OC gets Jamal Williams involved next year? Hope so, bro. He was not used correctly, and it showed. If Kendrick Miller stay healthy, how long do we keep AK-41 moving forward? It's going to come down to, what is it? Not this year. I think it's the next year. I don't have my numbers in front of me, but it's getting close in that contract, man, because Kamara's getting a little older, and the Saints going to have to look at, how that running back position in the NFL is looked upon to a degree. I think Elvin Kamara is kind of immune to that cheap running back, mindset, simply because he's a complete total back. They don't view him the same. You know what I mean? Like, you can look at Kamara and a Christian McCaffrey. Those guys going to always make money because they're so versatile. They can do it all. They can act as wide receivers, they running backs, you can move them all around. So a guy like McCaffrey and Kamara will always have value because that's what they do so many great things. So the Saints and coming up in a couple of years, I think it's the year after this year, if I'm not mistaken, y'all correct me in the chat, it very well or could be. Hold on, let me look at it. Hold on, give me a second. Let me pull it up, fam, because you got me thinking now. Let me see if I could pull it up. Kamara's contract, because I know they do have opt out on his agreements, but it's getting. Hold on, let me see if I can go over the cap. Yeah, let me see. Looking at his numbers now. Yeah, because it's 24. Yeah, he got 2 years left, 24 and 25. Let me put it on screen for you guys so you can see it. Here it goes. Y'all see that? Alvin Kamara. This is over the cap, by the way. And you can see right here, 24. At 29 years of age, 10.2 million. Base over 7 million with the prorated bonus. You can see his roster bonus, all that kind of stuff. And then 2025, when he turns 30, he'll be making $22.4 million. Of course, Saints are going to have to do something about that, right? He's 10.2, then in 25, at the age of 30, it leaps $12 million to 22.4. Then the cap number is extremely large. And 25, the cap number is over $29 million. And then he has several voided years where they kind of disperse out his signing bonus and all that kind of stuff. You can see they prorated the signing bonus over those years here. And they got a big, yeah. So, I mean, I think the Saints they're smartly looking at that in terms of getting Alvin Kamara, getting him, looking at his replacement or somebody perhaps down the line. I mean, yeah, he'll be 29, 30, in 2 years from now, Alvin will be in that 25 year, he'll be 30 years old, making, and the contract has it $22.4 million. They definitely gonna do something about that. But yeah, Kendra is definitely a part of the future of the team. He looked really well in the last game of the season too. Basically, the only really positive thing running wise we had got going, and that's because his ability to kind of get skinny in between the holes and make guys miss on that first movement. He played really well in that last game. So yeah, that's something. I would hope you want to get Jamal Williams going, bro. Definitely that. All right, thank you for the comment, bro. Pelicans know the Saints need to make Derek Carr play red light, green light in the film room. Yeah, that's the thing about Carr. Carr has the arm. You got to work on his accuracy some because he was erratic this past season. When receivers start complaining about with ball placement, and let's not let the truth get lost on the fact that he gave the truth on the social media medium, which he was supposed to tell Derek Carr straight up. Carr said that they talked before. He said that in other interviews that he talks to Michael Thomas, that he tweets and what's it called? He voices, not voices, what you call it, man. But he speaks with to Michael Thomas. He talks to him on the phone. He FaceTimes with him. He said that in multiple interviews before. So they are communicating. At some point, Mike cut the communication off. He might felt like he wasn't getting the answer. He didn't like what was going on, and he went to social media. Now I don't advocate for that happening because that destroys teams. But at the end of the day, we getting the information. We're going to get the information one way or the other. You know what I'm saying? And this is just him being disgruntled over the team. Let's not lose the fact on how he transferred the message like he did it on social media is wrong. Does not kick out his points of what he's saying. That Carr is hanging them out to dry, throwing bad balls or badly timed balls or badly misplaced balls. That's not lose the fact that he gave it through social media. It's still the truth. On film, you can see him doing that, not just to Mike, but he did that to Jawan Johnson a bunch of times. You know, you go back and watch the film. So it's not an indictment it's not an insult against Carr that he's doing something on the field and you say he's doing it. It's the truth. But Carr this offseason really needs to work on his ball placement. He really needs to work on his accuracy, doing accuracy drills. He really does. And he really needs to start doing more work in just looking over the full field before he decides to go with the ball because he checked it down a lot this last year. You know, some plays call for that. A lot of times it wasn't called for that. When you checking it down and you go back and look at the film, almost 80 to 90% of the time, there's somebody either running free or have single coverage with no safety support. It never fails. When you put the all 22 on and you see him check it down and you go and look at the receivers, you'll see that a guy is Chris Olave's running down the field on the right side and there's no safety support. And all you have to do is throw the ball in his direction. And you're going to see something promising happen. He started doing that on the back end when he just gave them an opportunity to go and get the ball. And they went and got it. Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave, times early in the year, he didn't do that. As you can see, he was kind of uncomfortable with the offensive line. The offensive line was bad. It also contributed to Carr's poor play as a quarterback because he wasn't comfortable with that line. You could tell that. He wasn't really comfortable back there. So a lot of it's not totally on Carr, but at the same time, as a quarterback, he sees guys blitzing. It's up to him to be able to see the blitzes coming, be able to call the protections, audible out of plays, and take advantage of the aggressiveness of the defense. He didn't do that a lot. He didn't do that a lot early on in the season. There was tape. Like I said, all the things I'm saying is stuff that we studied on film sections this year when we talked about Carr on the field. Anything else, like talking about his style of play without backing it about film, a lot of people are hitting where they're supposed to be. But the message Mike Thomas was talking about was accurate. People just disagree with the medium in which he choose to express it. I get that. But do not lose the message, which was the truth. He just gave it the way he did, you see. But anyway, Shazam says that's trade Lattimore for what? What are we going to? But that's what I'm saying. There's a rumor that's circulating around that Lattimore, and listen, where there's smoke, there's fire. Cat Terrell, shout out to Cat Terrell, asked Mickey Loomis about Marshawn Lattimore's contract restructuring. He didn't want to talk about it. He didn't want to talk about that. Which, if it was nothing there, Mickey was, we just, we do that every year. No, it was something to it. And like I said, we know it was a split in the team down the line, right? There were guys that were beefing with Dennis Allen, didn't like Dennis Allen, right? Well, could Lattimore be one of those dudes and he don't believe in him anymore and wants to get traded? Is this something being pushed by Laddie Daddy to get out of here? I don't know. But all I'm saying is there are players on this team that don't like Dennis Allen, and there's some that do. Could Laddie be one of those? We don't know. We won't know. Scoop said if AK stay healthy this year, Kubiak's gonna make you say, yeah. If you're Klint Kubiak with your father's offensive style, man, you could do a lot with Jamal Williams, with Elvin Kamara, with Kendre Miller. I mean, Klint Kubiak's coming into this thing licking his chops. I mean, you have basically can install a wide open offense that takes advantage of all of these guys' abilities. Jawan Johnson is there. You'll still have Taysom Hill. And the Saints just have to do a better job of building up their offensive line. It's really the thing he'll be tasked with. That's the biggest sticking point right there. Who's going to be the next offensive line coach? You know, are they going to promote from within the building? I think a lot of these roles are being left open for the offensive coordinator to fill them. You see what I'm saying? He wants to pick those guys. 504 coach, I could see them trading Laddie and moving Taylor to the outside, especially with how well Paulson and Debo played. I see what you're saying, bro. I can agree about that. I really don't want to see that, but it's a possibility. Demi says, Q, will Cam Jordan retire as a Saint? He said he would. Demi, they gave him the extension. Cam doesn't want to play for anybody. He's a Saint for lifer. The Saints gave him an extension on his deal, and that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to retire. Not this upcoming year, mind you, but eventually he's going to retire as a Saint. So, indeed. All right, Sham Sakar was even used properly. McCaffrey had a way better system in a way. Indeed. I agree 1,000% with your commentary, sir. I definitely do that. Jerry says, what's up, Jerry? Says we should have kept Anzalone. Bro, listen. Man, listen. Like it's almost similar to like the Trey Hendrickson thing. Like people look back at and do this revisionist history thing with Trey Hendrickson. Say, well, Q, they should have kept him. First and foremost, Trey Hendrickson, in the 4 years he was with the Saints, Trey Hendrickson never stayed healthy. For 3 years, he was hurt every year. He got hurt every year. The last year was a contract year in which he balled out, opposite of Cam Jordan. A lot of people, when you have a contract year and a player that didn't have high production, in the first 3 years, you kind of give that fourth year, that contract year, and say, well, that's just a contract year. He stepped up and played that year. Now, ultimately, when he got to Cincinnati, he continued to do great and positive things, which it worked out. But that's why the Saints were looking at it the way they were looking at it. And plus, they had his replacement in the building already in Davenport. They were thinking Davenport was going to be the next star. Now, it didn't happen that way. But what I'm doing is I'm laying it out on why it happened that way. Now, I say Hendrickson because Alex Anzalone situation was, I ain't gonna say was similar, because Alex Anzalone, it brings me into mind when I think about Alex Anzalone situation with the Saints. Alex was awesome. He played like his hair was on fire his first several years in the game. He was another linebacker that kept getting hurt. You remember he had a history of shoulder surgeries that he would have all the way back to the University of Florida. And when he got into the league, the Saints were very patient with Alex Anzalone, and he would get hurt. And then it came down to like the last year or two, Alex Anzalone stopped playing like the hair on fire Alex Anzalone that we loved, and he started playing real safe. And that's what got him up out of here. Because there would be times where Alex Anzalone was awesome. He played with his hair on fire. He was in there making plays. And then toward the back end of his career with the Saints, it all went docile. It all went milquetoast. He was scared to do certain things, and you can tell it was noticeable. Now that changed when he went to Detroit. Yeah, that changed. But during that period of time when the Saints we had to make a decision on what happens with Alex Anzalone, and they chose to let Alex Anzalone rock, is because Alex Anzalone, man, all that aggression that he had the first couple of years, in the last year of his contract with the Saints, it all went away. It was like he was playing real safe. He was playing not to get hurt is what he was doing, and it was very noticeable because he's a fiery player, that wears his emotions on it, and we loved Alex Anzalone. But when I seen, I was like, I made a joke about him tiptoeing through the tulips. That's what I call it. When he would see certain things happen, he wouldn't stick his helmet in there. He played real safe, and I think that's one of the reasons they got Alex Anzalone out of here, man, to be honest with you. But yeah, he looks good now, bro, but I'm keeping it real with you, man. If y'all remember, I covered that many years ago with Alex Anzalone being here with the Saints. Loved him. So it is what it is, All right, Shazam says, I'm blaming Carr and DA for Mike's injury. Mike got hit by 2 people. Come on, man. Yeah, there you go.
Hey, bro, come on now, dog.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I don't think it's disputable for us not to know that, that he's blaming them for getting hit. Now, he's the first one to talk about it on social media, but we've seen several passes that Carr has played. They wasn't well placed balls. Like Carr could see the safety where the wide receiver can't, or the where he's placing the ball. He hung Elvin Kamara out to dry. He hangs everybody out to dry. So Mike Thomas can't say that he's just picking on him. He's an equal opportunity hanger out to dryer. He hangs them all out to dry. He did it with Jadron Johnson. He did it with Chris Olave. He did it with Rashid Shaheed. He did it with Taysom. He does it with all of them because he doesn't place the ball well all the time. Now, he has some good throws, but what I'm saying is $150 million quarterback, he has to be a lot more accurate than what he is. But he's an equal opportunity hanger out the dryer. Try saying that 3 times. All right, Pelican Noah says, Q, we get Saquon Barkley at running back. Saints move on for AK. I don't know. Barkley won't want a payday. I think if anything, the Saints probably would do like, they have a Jamal Williams, they'll draft the guy or get somebody in that era, because the Jamal Williams contract was a really great contract. It really was. Yeah, it really was. So, yeah. Yeah. Well, Jack said he was smarted. I could be right, bro. I don't know. All right. Well, shout out to you, Jerry. Kevin Thomas Lee says, do the Saints go after Willie Gay, linebacker from Kansas City? That wouldn't be a bad move, bro. A lot of times I was looking at the Saints. I was like, man, remember they had Tampa Bay's Devin White in trade rumors. I know they had Dion, who's a former Atlanta Falcon linebacker. He went to Cleveland, and Cleveland defense really looked good in that defense. So they had players that were out there that was disgruntled that the Saints could reach at getting. And that's what I was thinking. I was like, man, to keep the Saints defense flowing, and if DeMario Davis leaves, because we have Pete Werner. I do like Nephi Sewell, but that's way at the back end. They're not drafting linebackers like Hyde to bring in here to kind of replace. We got Pete Werner, yes. But Pete Werner, up until this year, showed us for the first time in his career that he could play a full season without getting hurt. You see? You got DeMarco Jackson. You don't know what he can do, So in the end, the Saints still have question marks there. But I was looking at, like you thinking about some of a veteran linebacker with high upside that can come in, just like the Saints picked up DeMario Davis. He was from the Jets. He came in here and just turned it on. Why can't we do that again? Now we still have our linebackers we bring in to add to them. But when Devin White was available for trade rumors, man, I mean, I would have been all over that thing. I would have been all over trying to get him to get here. That would have been a big move, because that's a guy that can play the run and the pass really well. He's really smart. So I was thinking about, yeah, man, so why we can't do the DeMario Davis thing again? Not so much in the draft, but get a really good veteran linebacker to come in and kind of run that thing. You see what I'm getting at? All right. Shout out to you, Ulysses. I'm 68. I've been through all this with some of our younger family members, man. Y'all talk to Ulysses and others like him, man. They know what they're talking about, man. They've been through it. They done seen it. Sunshine Anderson, they done seen it before. Jack says DC is late on almost every throw, and that is what gets dudes hurt. He lets the defense get a step on his wide receivers. You know what that's called, bro? That's called being indecisive, and he does that from time to time. Not all the time, but like the lady on the show, her saying, well, we seen Devontae Adams get blew up such and such, and I'm like, man, that's not. You're not helping his argument. You're not helping his argument. You're actually helping Mike Thomas, and then James Jones up here talking about, well, I got blew up and I get up and say thank you. Thank you, Aaron Rodgers. He threw the ball 15 yards up in the air. I went up and got the guy hit me and broke my ribs. I came down and said, that's my fault. What? What are you talking about? Well, yeah, that's my fault. I shouldn't have did that. I should have jumped out. If I'd have jumped 20 feet in the air, I'd have been able to get him. Nah, brother. Nah, no. That's not being accountable, brother. You got you're not protecting nobody. That's not good. All right, T. Greatness says, Foskey and Jackson, what are your thoughts? Foskey, man, he didn't look good the first year. I do like Foskey's film from college, but he got to figure it out, bro. Foskey has the athleticism. He's going to have to get stronger, got to get better with his technique, but he wasn't ready to go. The Saints kind of set him down there, and he got banged up. But, man, Foskey is a question mark. Everybody's going to have their eyes on Foskey because Peyton Turner is not I think Peyton's Terry, this is his last year, I want to say. He's coming up on his final year of his rookie contract. I have to look it up, but I want to say yes. But Peyton Turner is a question mark. Foskey the Snowman is another dude that we have to see what he can do. And we haven't seen not nearly enough of him, and he has to have a improvement. Carl Granderson is phenomenal. We know Cam lost a step. He had the ankle issue. He dealt with that toward the back end of the season. But Foskey, I like Foskey. I think Foskey got to get his work on this offseason to get stronger, get more, focus on his technique more, and come back and show off his athleticism. DeMarco Jackson is a football player. Nephi Sewell kind of stepped ahead of him. You know what I'm saying? And there's no denying Nephi, because Nephi is one of those type of players. He's like a Jose Alvarado type. These guys, you can't deny their intelligence. You can't deny their enthusiasm. You can't deny Nephi Sewell, and he was able to get past DeMarco Jackson and get some play time there. So DeMarco Jackson's a football player, but yeah, he has to definitely step up. The first year he was here, he got hurt. This was more like a rookie year for him. You've seen some stuff right here that's still inconclusive. But both of these guys have to really step up and work hard this offseason, man, to get ready, because they'll have opportunities for them coming in. Thank you, T. Great. And his 504 coach says, Q, what do you think about Devin White? What do you think about Devin White? He is really disgruntled in Tampa. I don't know if he's still feeling that way. I know that was the feel during the season when all that stuff was happening. I don't know if that's the feel, being that Tampa Bay had a pretty successful year. They really did. Because nobody was looking at Tampa Bay at even making the playoffs. They won the South again without Tom Brady. That's a big accomplishment. They picked up a quarterback for 1 year for $4 million in Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield beat the Saints, split with the Saints, took the NFC South and went into the playoffs. And like I said, I don't know if he's still disgruntled, because they had a lot of success from that point in time. So he was at one time. I don't know if he still is. It might have changed. Winning changes things, don't it? You know what I mean? Big Sean, what's up, bro? Says, let's hope that Kubiak don't back out of this last minute. Yeah, what's the guy? What's his name? Kingsbury. Kingsbury backed out of the Raiders situation. But yeah, it's supposed to be coming official after the Super Bowl, man. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. Strange things happening, fam. Strange things are happening. Dre Day says, Carr is always getting a new OC from the Raiders to the Saints. Everyone see the potential, but he can't pass the mid-tier of QBs. He can't, because he lacked things. The top tier QBs, they don't suffer from a lot of the things that he suffered from. And he suffered from them because he refuses to acknowledge them. It's as simple as that. It's like, how isn't Carr, with all of his statistics and everything he is, why isn't he a top tier QB in the NFL? He has 10 years of NFL experience, still middling around in the mid-tier QBs. Why? Because of his preparation. Not, him looking at his game, literally seriously looking at his game and saying, what can I improve as a quarterback to be better? What can I improve? Well, you got to stop staring guys down. That's number one. Number two, you got to be able to cycle through your full progression plate. That means left and right, and find the best option that's out there. That's number two. Simple stuff. And number three, take accountability. Now I just gave the man 3 solid ass answers, fam. I ain't even have to think about that. We've been studying this guy. We studied him we broke this dude down into molecules. That's how much we've been studying Carr's game. If he takes my suggestion and does just those 3 things, that would get him in the top 5 for real. Because he wouldn't check the ball down. He would see to the opposite side of the field that they have a one-on-one matchup with no safety support. I said that several times. That's been the case this season. Just throw it out there. He did that in the last game. He was attacking down the field, not checking it down 1,000 times in a game. When he cycled through his progression, he's seen Chris Olave one-on-one, and there's not a safety on top. He just threw it out there. Chris Olave went and got it. Simple. If he takes those 3 things, he'll get into the top 5 tiers. He'll get into the top tier of the NFL. He would. Stop staring people down. First one, stop staring people down. Number 2, go through your full progression plate from left to right and make the proper throw. And number 3, take accountability. That's solid right there. That'll get him there. Will he do it? I don't think he'll do it, because he don't even recognize any of those things I say as problems. If somebody says he's hanging guys up, that's a question on your accuracy. You don't even look at that. Like when we just played this interview right here with this on this podcast, you could see off top his answers to the questions. What they were saying was, his commentary on it shows that he's not going to take accountability for that. If people are telling you that you're not accurate, you need to go and look, have some inflection. Go in and find, where am I at? And go look at the tape. You don't have to guess. The majority of your football life is on film. You can actually pull it up and go look at it. All you have to do is have a subscription on NFL Network, .com, to do it. You could pull up any game that you want. He can go all the way back to Raiders time. He have access to all of that. He can look at every game, the all 22 on his game, and literally break down himself. In the off season, he can literally go and break himself down and see the plus and minuses of his game. Would he do that? No, he ain't gonna do that. He's not going to do that, and that speaks to his seriousness about winning. You can prepare all you want, but if you flawed and you're doing the fundamental back ass shit, you think you're gonna have success doing the same rotten wrong stuff? You're gonna be consistently mediocre. You can't say we're gonna prepare, because you gotta prepare right. You gotta do the right things. You gotta understand that I got flaws in the game that I need to change. If you keep doing the same stuff over and over again, you're going to get the same results. I don't understand why we keep losing, because you are doing stuff that makes us lose. You're staring guys down. You can't do that in the NFL. That's a no-no. You'll get picked on. You get a pick six like in the Falcons game. You can't check it down a million times. That stifles out your offense. You go 3-1. I understand sometimes you go there, but other times you'll have opportunities to look up the field. If he changes those things, family, we will have success. We will have a lot more success than what we have. Anyway, all right. Thank you, Dre Day. Shout out to your family. Let me get a few more in here, then I'm going to cut out. All right, Claude. What's up, Claude? Afternoon, Big Q. What the new OC have plans for a mobile quarterback? Now, I don't know if it's that, bro, but the thing is getting somebody to work with Derek Carr. And ultimately, like in this interview we played that he spoke about loving John Gruden. Eventually, John Gruden's going to have something to do with the Saints offense. I don't think it's at probably like a senior assistant level, because they're picking Klint to be the offensive coordinator. So eventually when Gruden stuff is up, you might see his case is up, and it's supposed to be pushed back to July now. I did an update on that early in the show. So, whoever's getting it, like Klint gets a job to work with Derek Carr. He's bringing that offense, that Kubiak style offense. If he can bring an offense where the Saints can run the ball, that'll make Derek Carr look a lot better. That'll take a lot of pressure off of Derek Carr. If you watch the games early on when the Saints couldn't run the ball, when they were having issues running the ball because the offensive line was pathetic, that put a lot of pressure on Carr, who didn't fully know the system at times to be able to win these games, and he couldn't do it because he simply didn't know enough of the system. He struggled early on. They tried to place the offense on his shoulders too early by making him throw the ball 30-plus times a game, and you can see a lot of those games the Saints lost. They had a game where he threw for like 40-plus, 45-something attempts, and they lost the game because that's not going to work. You got to have some of these games. You needed a running attack to keep things balanced. And then toward the back end of the season, notice the Saints started to run the ball better, and they operated Carr's passing game off the back of the strength of the running attack, which is what they were supposed to do coming into the year by their own account. They said that we want to run the ball first and get the running game, and then work the pass off the run, get the play action going. Well, in some of those games, they couldn't do it because the offensive line was so putrid in setting up the run, and the Saints would try to go into play action early without even running the ball. They would run play action plays without running the ball. That's not effective. That actually sets you up for harm, because it's only the illusion, the threat of you running and getting production off the running game that pauses the linebackers to the safeties. You can't start play actioning without running the ball. So, a lot of that ended in failure. But in the end, man, if he can get the running attack going, and listen, I know about the Pete Carmichael thing, but listen, you could have still kept Pete Carmichael. I know people say, Q, I don't want to get him on the body. I get that, but I'm saying the biggest firing here is the offensive line firing. I'm going to just keep it a buck. Because if you had a better offensive line coach and better offensive line play, Carmichael could have survived this year. He really could. But you need the biggest one that the Saints have in terms of them firing is really the Doug Marrone firing. That happened yesterday. Should have happened sooner. But firing Doug Marrone as the offensive line coach was huge. That is, to me, probably the best firing that happened, because how do you fire Cody Burns and not fire the offensive line coach? And that was largely responsible for how inept the Saints offense was outside of Derek Carr's production. Having a running attack that wasn't there all the time. So finding another guy to champion that and get that offensive line together will be huge for the Saints going forward. That's what we're talking about here. The running attack, it needs to be strengthened. And he has more of a stronger line, more focused and centered line. So I'm thinking when Kubiak come, he's going to pick his own offensive lineman his own offensive line coach, because he knows you got a lot of these zone schemes that he has set up, these run zone schemes and all that. That's very evident in the Kubiak style offense that some of these guys going to have to be using, and you're going to need an offensive line coach to get those guys ready for that role. So it'll be pretty cool seeing that happen. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of stuff that coaches could be the offensive coordinators picking. We'll see. T. Scott says Kubiak. What's up, T? Kubiak haven't put pen to paper. He hadn't put pen to paper yet. It's already something that they're reporting as agreed upon between the Saints. Won't become official until after the Super Bowl. So here's the report by Kat Terrell of ESPN. She covers it. We covered it early on in the broadcast, by the way. Okay. All right. Scoop says Q Carr is to accountability as to DA's qualified. Yes. Yeah, but some of the things I said, man, was just, I'm saying if the guy does that, bro, you could see a significant change in Derek Carr as a quarterback in the league. Like, he's really mid-tier. If he changes those things, that puts him up there. It really does. That's the thing that's preventing him. And also, the Saints got to get the running game going, because we won't win. We'll win some games because Carr's throwing the ball, but a lot of these games we won't win until we have a thorough, certified running attack that is leading the way, and Carr's operating off the back of that. If we can do that, the Saints will win some game. They will win a lot of games. Reginald says, thank God we got someone who can call plays. Jesus. Ulysses, ever since the Saints did what they did to Bridgewater, he says they've been going downhill. You can't continue to do people like that, indeed. And that's the thing that I don't like. I don't like the backstabbing. He lied about it. They tried to cover it up. Mickey didn't even look at it. And Mickey and Dennis Allen, two peas of the same pod. That's why he loving them. That's why he loving on them so much. They two peas of the same pod. All right, Sean says, Q, didn't we get rid of Doug Marrone too? Yeah, we just covered it, bro. Yeah. You just said, that happened a couple of days ago. IT Scott says, yes, it was. Q, Marrone's a horrible coach. Yeah, that was a big firing, family. It came late, but that should have been the first firing. Is the fired off. The offensive line was awful. Them guys didn't look like they were prepared to play most of the games. Andrews, Pete, they're pulled to block. Don't block anybody. I remember there was a play that I exclusively was talking about on a Patreon channel where they rolled out, and it was 2 or 3 offensive linemen in front of Alvin Kamara. Some kind of way the defender was able to get through 2 big-ass offensive linemen and make a drive-killing tackle on Kamara. Some kind of, I was like, we had 2 guys out front. How did that guy get there and get Kamara for a loss or for a minimal gain? He set up the screen, and they had 2 guys in front of him. The guy still tackled Kamara. I'm like, how? We had 2 guys. So like I said, man, it was awful. Scoop says, Q, are you absolutely right about O-line coach? You absolutely right about, indeed. Yeah, that's the report. Hold on, let me see if you asked me, did it happen? It did. Here's one of the reports right here. Here's some receipts right here. New Orleans Saints parting ways with offensive line coach. They're parting ways with him. So yeah, that's some receipts right there. All right. Yeah, show me. There you go. What's up, Professor? How you doing, sir? He said, I agree. Yeah, indeed, bro. That was horrible, man. All right. Brother Rock says, Q, your opinion on Dave Canellis. Y'all got a good one there, bro. Let me tell you something, bro. Brother Rock, like I know how bad Baker Mayfield looked in a Carolina Panthers uniform. Don't you? You remember that? And when Dave Canellis got him in Tampa Bay, it was not even the same person. He was like, who is this guy? Imagine what he can do with Bryce Young. Just think about that. Just think about what I just said. When they hired Dave Canellis, he ain't a big name, but think about what he did with Baker Mayfield. And what he said, because boy, I tell you, he was god awful in Carolina. They got him up out of there. And then next thing you know, he goes to Tampa Bay. Canellis gets him and turns him into what you've seen this past season. Not only did he have an excellent season off a 1 year, $4 million contract, but he got Tampa Bay into the playoffs. That to me, I was like, wow. So Tampa Bay, the family base of Tampa Bay got treated. They got treated to a treat this year with Tampa Bay just surprising everybody. It was supposed to be the Saints. Saints didn't want it. They had it and let it go. They didn't want it. They didn't want it like that. Tampa wanted it. So you got Dave Canellis over there. He did that with Baker. And also who was the other quarterback he had great improvement with too? He did that with somebody else. So, but my thing about Canellis is y'all got a good one there, bro, because the owner wanted to get somebody that can work with his quarterback. If you can take Baker Mayfield and turn him from what he was in Carolina to what he was in Tampa Bay, man, you got something. And imagine what he can do with Bryce Young. So I think you guys are headed in the right direction, man. To be honest with you, man, it's going to be pretty cool watching that happen, man. You know, we like I said, it's going to be a lot more competitive NFC South. Carolina is going to be a lot of the stuff that they struggled through in the first year with a rookie quarterback. A lot of that stuff is going to disappear. They're going to have much more success. They're going to add some more people to the team. They're going to build better around Bryce. He's going to be more confident. They're going to set up a system for him to be successful in Carolina. Their defense is young and good already. And then if you look at Atlanta, what they've done, getting Raheem Morris there, that was the perfect pickup for them. I know Bill Belichick was the guy they was looking at, but Raheem Morris is a really solid move for the Atlanta Falcon family, man. Let me tell you, he is a really solid move for them because he came in, he's bringing the Rams offense there. So you got Robinson, who's took the job to be the OC. So you're bringing the Rams wide open, Sean McVay style offense along with them. Then they got to get a quarterback, of course, and we'll see what they do there. But I think they'll solve all the issues that they were suffering from last year. They'll find a quarterback. They'll add to some more pieces to their team, and they'll be more competitive in this upcoming year. So the Saints, it ain't going to be, people showed me sent me the link about them having a similar, softer schedule coming into it. Fam, listen, if you couldn't do it in a year, this past year, I'm not casting doubt on the team, but I'm saying it's going to be definitely a lot more difficult this year for the Saints to have success. Not saying that they can't, but I'm saying the degree of preparation and everything has to go up a lot more because the NFC South have kind of, a lot of the guys of the teams in the NFC South have rounded out a lot of the errors that plagued them this past year, and they're going to be seriously more competitive in this upcoming year. So regardless if we're looking at soft schedule for 2024 or not, the reality is, man, get ready for some serious football for the black and gold, and what some people anticipate could be Dennis Allen's final year here, depending on what we know, how many years on his contract, because some say 3, some say 4. We don't know. It's not exactly out there. All right, Jack says, thank you, Rock. Jack says, Bridgewater played well. They ran the hell out of the ball when he was there. Drew came back, and they go pass happy again. Yeah, I remember the game because it was against Drew came back against the Carolina game, and Teddy Bridgewater was undefeated. The team was humming behind him. You heard chants of Teddy, and Drew Brees was supposed to wait until after the bye week, which was against the Falcons, to come back. And Drew Brees pushed his way into that matchup against the Cardinals. And they beat the Cardinals, went into the bye, and then lost to Atlanta on the other side of the bye. They just was garbage that game. Wasn't prepared to play. Now I had Drew because Bridgewater would beat Carolina. If Drew would have did what he was supposed to do, which was wait until after the bye week to play Atlanta, then we would have more than likely beat Atlanta because Drew wouldn't have let us lose on his first game back after Teddy Bridgewater had all those wins. You see? So I remember all that, man. Very strange. But yeah, it's we diehards over here, you know. T. Scott says, Q, why is Lattimore hurt every year now? Didn't the Saints hire injury coach or something? Well, he got hurt, bro. Like I said this, I spoke about this early on in the show. He got hurt off a freak issue. Remember, he was running out there, I think he was trying to make a tackle, or he was going in the area to make a tackle. And somebody rolled up on him, like a guy fell down and rolled up on his foot. You know, so it was kind of a freak thing where, you know, he just gets hurt. No, you know, he was running across the field, guy rolled up on him, and he just kind of hobbled off.
of the field. It was a freak thing. So it wasn't like, yeah, he is injury prone. No, it wasn't that type of thing. It was actually a freaky kind of injury that occurred. And when that happened, I can't really kind of, get on him too bad about that, Brent says, thank you, Brent. Says, will DA be at least smart enough to stay the hell out of the way of more intelligent coordinators that will be, quote, under him, end quote? Who that? Thank you, bro. Appreciate you, Brent, for that, man. Appreciate that, bro. As always.
Thank you. Far too kind.
And a come on, man.
Hey, bro, come on now, dog.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Appreciate it, Brent. But yeah, bro, I think he'll stay out of the way. He did that with Pete Carmichael. The problem is, to a degree, is Dennis Allen stays out of the way a little too much. He doesn't know. It's weird because you want a head coach to be involved even though he's a defensive guy, he trusts a guy to run the offensive side of the ball. But if it's failing over there, you got to know how to step in and make changes and, kind of put a little pressure on him to change things around. He didn't do that. He just let him fail. And I just found that real weird because even the media was like, are you guys going to make changes? Like, yeah, we're going to make a change after a blowout loss or whatever it was. Yeah, we're going to be some changes. And the changes never came. They'll have blowout losses and stuff like that and talk about changes and guys' jobs are on the line. Now, there'll be no changes. And it just went on and on. The guy wasn't serious about what he was saying. Don't tell people you're going to make changes and don't make any changes from a schematic standpoint or personnel in terms of calling the plays at the coach level. He just didn't do it. That makes you a liar. And he lied about that during the season. And when they failed, he just fired Carmichael and threw him out there. And we finally are getting rid of Doug Marrone as of a couple of days ago. So, I mean, it's just what we anticipate under this current regime. I call him a regime, Yeah, I don't want him here. But anyway, shout out to you. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Dem. Appreciate you. Appreciate y'all, man. I love y'all too. I appreciate y'all, man. I really do, man. All right. So anyway, we're going to get a couple of them before we get out of here. Sean says 2024 schedule ain't soft. 10 times harder than the season. Yeah, I know, but there's report. They're basing it like they did last year, Sean. You know what I mean? Reports are showing that based on the win-loss record, the Saints are showing to be one of the having. And I'm like, nah, I'm not buying into that this year. This past season, the Saints had a real opportunity because they faced a ton of teams with rookie quarterbacks. Guys didn't have their stuff all together. New Year started, like when they went up against Jordan Love. I mean, we got him early in the year before they really started getting going. That was supposed to win. We got a Minnesota team that didn't have a starting quarterback or they star wide receiver. We still lost. And they just got a guy off of the trade block like a few days before the game or maybe a week before the game. And he tore the Saints up. We talking about Josh Dobbs. That's crazy. And then you go into a bye week. We got to correct it. We feel like we corrected. We had these great Hall of Fame practices, and then they come out and lose to Atlanta. So it's like, what? What's going on here? So, you start hearing it because they say a lot of stuff, and they be overselling stuff. That's what it is. They oversell stuff or just completely flat out just downplay. I don't like that. I don't like the overselling. I don't like the downplaying of issues for the team that need to be addressed. If we don't fix them, it's going to contribute to the team losing. And I don't like that. I don't like a guy coming out saying we're going to make changes and he don't make no changes. He don't make any change at all. And that's what they were asking about. Changes at the offensive coordinator position during the season, and they never happened. The offense struggled week after week after month after month. And finally, the last month of games, they done something. But guess what? You had lost too much for it to get going. And even though he had those fantastic stats, where were they at in the Rams game? We needed that Rams game. Where was his fantastic play at in a matchup against the Rams on Thursday night? Where was his play at then? Him being Derek Carr. What was his play at? We needed that Rams win against we need that Rams win. Where was that at? It's crazy, but Liddell says, Q, you okay. Okay, thank you, man. Appreciate you. I got you, man. Appreciate you. 3 genuine, unbiased sports journalists. All the rest of them are bunk. All right, thank you, Liddell. Appreciate you. Yeah, shout out to Lex, man. Lex is our contributor on the Pelican Post Game Report. Lex is true blue. She is a talented, intelligent person. She's awesome, man. And she be calling that stuff too, and she got background in a lot of that. She's a referee, she coaches the game in middle schoolers, and she loves basketball. You could tell. from a schematic standpoint, and she's a Pelican supporter, so she'd be really passionate about it. So when she talks about stuff, she talks about it from a coach's level because she's done that, and referee level, she talk about it because she had some experience with that. So very talented. So shout out to my girl Lex. She doing her thing, man, and she just be dropping some science. All right. Anyway. All right. Yeah, we got a lot of. Yeah. Well, you're not gonna see me in another Falcon shirt again because I ain't betting no more. I'd have took that shit out and threw it out somewhere. I don't know where I put it at. I'm not. Y'all ain't gonna ever see me in the seat. That's what you get for being a diehard supporter of your team. You see? And then for the rest of the year, you got to deal with the Falcon people posting up pictures of, because you dared to support your team and say that they were going to win, and then they go out there and lose and stank it up. You dared to. I'm like, oh, never again. Never again on this current regime. I'm not doing it ever again. All right. Shout out. Reggie says, say a prayer for Saints OG Jerry. Who that? All right. For Jerry? OG, what's wrong with Jerry, man? Jerry's all right, huh? I see him. They say he just got out of church. All right. I think I threw that shirt away. I don't know where that shirt was, bro. It just disappeared. I think my son might have thrown it away. He's seeing it somewhere. He's like, yeah, what you doing with this? And after that, it disappeared. I didn't even say, you know what, throw that away. I don't even see it anymore. I don't know where it is. I know he ain't wearing it. He know now he ain't wearing it. Yeah, I don't know where that is. T says, man, I'm on my way. He says, I'm on my way. Meet me by Pee-wee's. Okay, shout out to you, brother. All right, Sean says they probably counted Carolina Atlanta's records twice. The incompetence of it all. But yeah, man, listen, man, that's going to be the end of the stream. Listen, fam, we gave updates on all these guys, man. That's going to be the end of the stream. Listen, I appreciate everybody for stopping by on this Saturday. I started at 10:20 or something like that. So it's been like a 3-hour stream, and I don't usually do these, man. I've been kind of last week I take my little off time when I can after a long season. So I'm gonna get back on schedule this upcoming week. We'll be doing a lot of Saints stuff, a lot of boxing stuff is coming. So anyway, shout out to the fan. Appreciate y'all for being here. Please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and by all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. We represent the Who Dat Nation, the great Saint Think Tank. Like I said, fam, I don't want nobody to feel in their feelings about the Saints or get into your feelings or be negative about the Saints coming up. Just understand and know that this has to happen. All this stuff has to happen with Dennis Allen and Mickey Loomis. All this has to come to pass. All this has to get on out of the way. If they're right about what they're doing, we all just have to sit back and be patient and watch it all unfold. So we'll see that happen this upcoming season. And if it is if it's true, we'll get to the playoffs. If it's not, because listen, a winning season won't cut it next year. He has to get the team into the playoffs. Another 9-8 team is not going to work. We got to get this. It has to be a playoff bid. So if we think that can happen, and if Klint Kubiak comes and he helps the Saints offense goes, and he could help, but once again, it depends on how fast Carr picks it up. Carr took a long time to pick up the Saints offense where he was consistently putting things together, like how he looked in the last month worth of games. It took all of the season for him to start looking consistent like that. It really did. So how long does he take to pick up Klint's system? And what role will John Gruden play once he clears his legalities in his case after July? What role will he play in the Saints office? So a lot of stuff happening for the black and gold, man. But listen, I do like the fact that Klint Kubiak is a good call because, like I said, this is going back to the past. This is going back to the past. His father was a finalist for the head coaching job way back when. Actually, like I said before, and we covered it, Tom Benson wanted Gary Kubiak to be the head coach. The only thing that stopped it was the fact that Kubiak wanted the Saints to match the contract that the Houston Texans gave him. And Tom Benson said no. And then he picked Sean Payton to be the coach. That's how it went. It literally went that way. It wasn't Sean Payton was just so magical. They met and they were right away new. No. Didn't happen like that at all. They wanted Gary Kubiak as the head coach. And we ended up with Peyton, which was a blessing. We got a Super Bowl out of it, but that's history. That's how it happened. And it's mighty funny. After all those years, here come Klint Kubiak, Derek Kubiak's son, with his philosophy in the building, replacing Peyton's offensive philosophy. That's something else, isn't it? Coming full circle. That's one of those things we always like to. It's always good to be a person that remember history. Brent says, Big Q, don't be taking long breaks. Like Mickey. Yeah,
Hey,
man.
bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Yeah, Mickey,
Say
man.
thank you very much. Picking me up.
Yes.
Bringing me back to this.
Yeah, shout out to you, Brent. Don't be taking long breaks like Mickey. I start using dumbass excuses like I ain't too emotional to do my job. When I win games, I'm too emotional, and when I lose games, I'm too emotional. I just don't do nothing. Yeah. I'm telling you, hey Q, you're taking my philosophy, and yeah, Mickey, I gotta chill on that, brother. Yeah. Oh, that's too funny, man. All right, yeah, shout out. Yeah, Kubiak won the Super Bowl with Denver, right? That's right, bro. He won. Gary Kubiak, the father, had 2 championships with Denver as a backup quarterback, and then later on, when he became the offensive coordinator, he had I think he won a couple of more as an offensive coordinator. So he won as a backup quarterback behind John Elway because it was Elway's team. And then when he became a coach and he became an offensive coordinator years later after that, he was able to get championships that way. That one made him more attractive because Coach Payton wanted he had the resume that Sean Payton didn't have. He had a really good resume, and that's what that he wanted him to match that money. And Tom Benson said, nope. Where's Sean at? And then everything's been about that. But it worked out for us, It worked out for us. But yeah, his son is here, man, with his philosophy. Isn't that something, man? That is amazing. All right, so anyway, with that being said, man, let me get out of here on that. Appreciate you guys, man. I'm gonna holler at y'all, but come back on the Monday stream, fam, to talk at y'all, man. I'm gonna do some more mocks. I'm gonna work on another mock draft for our TSC and Patreon family members and have that coming out Tuesday. I got another mock that I'm gonna show at you. Also, some more news and notes about the black and gold, but we'll do a show on that Monday as well. So we'll be back. So with that being said, I'm gonna get out on here. Y'all have finished having a great weekend. I hope you guys be safe out there and have fun. It looks like a very nice day outside where I'm at. So y'all guys be easy, and I'll let you on the flip side. Who that?
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Just trying to get something smoky out to phone.
TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the